What is up, guys? I think we're good to go. I am streaming on a brand new laptop. So I've had a laptop I bought in February, and I hadn't turned it on for 6 months because that's just where we were with life. So I'm on a new laptop right now. So if anything's kind of screwy, whether it's like audio, video, just anything, just let me know. And we can figure that out. I had to reconfigure all my settings in StreamYard here before the stream. So I guess all those settings are not linked to my account. They're just linked to the computer and the browser specifically. So I didn't realize that. But let me get something poured out here. The music's super loud in my ears. I don't know what's going on here. We're going to start with a little Eagleware 12 year. We're going to start with an upgraded version of the typical Eagleware tonight. Let me know what you guys are sipping on. I know I'm a few minutes late, and we're not using the close mic. We're using the above mic. I'm going to probably try to default to this microphone, if at all possible, for pretty much everything from this point forward. I think it's just a little cleaner, a little easier. But let me know if you do like the close mic for these live streams a little bit better. I think audio-wise, it should be mostly comparable, should be high quality. Maybe a little more room noise this way, but I don't think that's a bad thing if you got background music going. Background is a scotch too loud, says Travis. All right, I can bring it down. It's gonna be different because this mic, the mix, oh, right. That'll do it. I turned sound effects down, not the background music. I normally turn it down to 25. So sorry, that was twice as loud as it normally is. All right. So let me see who all's hanging out this evening. This new computer, I'm telling you, it's friggin' awesome. So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into this evening. You saw the thumbnail. I had a couple of surprise bottles show up today, so thank you, Rarebird 101. The brand new Raconteur Rye Duo, this pair called Gemini 1 and Gemini 2. We're going to get into those tonight. We've got a couple of repeats on the table because we're going to compare them to other things. So you've already seen the Rathskeller, although the last time I tasted it on here, it was from a sample bottle. I had to go and buy one of these because I thought it was really good. We'll talk about it. We'll put it through its paces this evening. Another kind of cool duo set here. We've got the Shenks. We've got the Bomberger's 2025 release. Not only did they do a PFG this year, which is a brand new expression from Bomberger's, but they also are doing the regular Bomberger. So we've got these two. I don't think we tasted these last time, did we? Now I'm having like a flashback or a deja vu. Did we do Bomberger's last time? Let me look at the thumbnail from last stream 2 weeks ago. No, I don't think we did. All right, I think we're good on that. You saw this as well. We've got the brand new 2025 Maker Cellar Aged. We'll get into. I know most people are looking forward to this one. I'm a little late, a week late on this one. This is the Wild Turkey Beacon. What else? Everything else I think is for comparison. So Russell's 13 Spring 2025, Russell's 15. We're going to put those up against the Beacon. This just arrived today because I wanted it for the comparison. This is the 2023 Maker Cellar Aged. And this right here. We're going to talk all of these Barton 18-year barrels. We're going to talk all about these things. This is an Elkwood Reserve 18-year Drums and Drams pick of 18-year Barton. So it's 125 proof, 18 years old. These are like dream stats for whiskeys. I also have the Mashup Podcast 134 proof version. We're going to taste these 18 years tonight, along with some samples sent in by a great friend of the channel, Jeremy Hughes. He sent me a bunch of these whiskey blendery samples of also 18-year Barton. We have BBBB. It's a funny name for a barrel. We've got Raspberry Royalty, and we've got Very Old Cola. So we'll do kind of a massive 18-year bourbon side by side. Probably, I don't know, halfway through the stream or something like that. We're going to definitely get to the makers before that. We'll get to the Shenks and Bombergers before that, just thinking about proof order. We'll just kind of see where the night takes us. I don't have any blinds planned this evening. This is really just a rapid fire kind of tasting stream that we're going to do. Not too rapid. I mean, we're going to be here over 2 hours, I think, going through all this stuff. So strap in. We've got a giveaway this evening as well. You can see it scrolling along the bottom of the screen. We're going to be giving away one of these. I've got it down here. Brand new sealed Elkwood 18-year Drums and Drams pick. Again, 125 proof 18-year Barton. $400 bottle. That's going to be the first prize. That first prize winner, as well as second and third place, are all going to get the exact same sample pack. You can read about what's in that sample pack in the description of the video. It's going to include everything that I'm tasting tonight, just about. 12 1-ounce samples, the Raconteurs, the Rathskeller, all the 18-year stuff I'm doing, the Makers, the Beacon, Russell's 15, so you can do all your comparisons at home, the same stuff I'm doing on this live stream. So you can read about all those samples in the description. Venmo, PayPal info's down there. If you want to do that, every $5 super chat is one entry into the giveaway. I'll keep track of that. We'll do a randomizer at the end of the stream. So you can send it direct, Venmo, PayPal. Leave out any specific whiskey comments. Just do it like a normal super chat, or you can super chat on the live stream here. YouTube's going to take a cut of that, but you're also going to get up on the screen and recognized. So I know some people like to do both. They'll throw 5 here and 5 there and get their message on the screen. So no matter what you do tonight, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being here. Enough rambling here at the top of the hour. 13 minutes after the hour. Cheers. All right, so let me look at the chat now. Oh, Eagle Rare 12. I'm not going to listen to any of this sacrilege, this blasphemy of people saying Eagle Rare 12 is overhyped. I don't think it is. I think Eagle Rare 12 is so good. All right, Travis, good to see you, man. Everyone hit that like button. Yes, please hit that like button, guys. All the names on my end that I'm seeing are, it's like the actual, like John looks like this instead of, I don't know what his actual username is, but I'm seeing like the behind the scenes name. So this is Rich, but it says Rich's name backwards here. Just to let you guys know. Terry, I'll never win a Drums Drams viewer, but I might donate anyways. Either way, Terry, thanks for being here, man. Yeah, I know it's been a little while on content, guys. There's been some stuff going on over here. You've kind of seen me, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, unfortunately, but just some personal stuff over on our end, family stuff. We're through all that now, so it was kind of a rough last 2.5, 3 weeks, but we're over that hump this week and back in business, so appreciate your patience. This was kind of an unplanned break from basically everything in life, not just the channel. So thanks to the people too that I've been messaging back and forth and kind of keeping me sane through it. You guys know who you are. So cheers and thanks. Slad, I hope the stream starts with a house update. Siding I think is on, if not entirely by this point. Like yesterday it was like half. Maybe 2 days ago it was like halfway on. So I think siding's probably done on the house. They're drywalling right now. Well, not right now, but we've got a few more days of drywall going on. Not sure if mowing the lawn or eating. I did have tacos. I'm gonna keep scrolling down. Good to see everybody. If I don't get your name on the screen, I promise I'll catch up, and I'll be at the bottom here of the chat. We know he trimmed. Oh God, I didn't read that before I put it up. Although that's an innocuous chat. I really did trim my bushes yesterday. It wasn't part of my body. It was actually the bush out front. He named the laptop. Okay, all right. I got to read these before I put them on the screen. Good to see everybody. I'm scrolling down. Why isn't Austin sending the store link? What are you guys talking about? All right, Jason, good to see you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Got you in for 2. Ready for that 18-year? Is she legal? It's legal. It's 18. It is 18 years old. Is the Eagle Rare 12 better than a good Eagle Rare 10 pick? Slad, I don't know. We're not going to do that tonight, but I need to do that in my spare time up against your epic pick that you gave me. Guy, good to see you, dude. Good to see your name popping up. ADHD 12 Summers in the glass. What is that? What is the 12 Summers pick? All right, Mr. Campbell. Cheers, everyone. The Rack Rye talk in the Discord inspired me to pour the... Ooh, Ryan's pick is so good, man. I had to buy one of these. Why would he lie? Justin, what's up, dude? Sipping on a new riff single barrel 6-year rye. I just picked up from the distillery. Kelvin barrel and $60. Now that's interesting. That'll get my attention on even younger new riff stuff like that. Oh, Disco 13. I got to pull Disco 13. Sorry, I reorganized the room today. I put everything back on the shelf. There we go. We got Disco 13 in the house. Man, I can't believe I almost forgot that. Thank you for the reminder, guys. Scrolling down, scrolling down. How's the house coming? Just mentioned that. What's up, Kenny? Eagerware 12, definitely overhyped. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here, Uncle Kenny. If I missed your super chat, guys, please remind me in the chat, like just all caps. Have everybody else remind me. Roman, thank you. Gotcha in for one. Yo, Drams, what's cracking? Buff turkey worth it? I tasted one and it was not good, just not worth the coin. 85% of buff turkey is not worth it. And we'll talk about that hit rate, you know, kind of in comparison to at least what I've tasted so far of these 18-year Bartons. We'll kind of talk about the hit rate of those two side by side. Yeah, we'll get into that for sure. 12 Summers is Barrel King. Okay, gotcha. Happy you're through the rough patch. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, so we are down to the bottom now. Did I miss any other super chats? I got Roman and I got Jason, and I think that was it in YouTube. All right. Cool, so let's get into it now. All right, Justin just sent me a picture of that 6-year new riff in Kelvin. Kelvin 4, Char 4, wow. 4th floor. Nice, dude. All right, we're nice and warm. Let's dive into, what do you want? What should we do first? Probably the Shenks. Let's get into the Shenks first. Kenny, get out of here, bro. I did not miss D's. I did not. I'm going to pour both the Shenks and Bombergers out just to kind of get it in the glass. Okay. By the way, so I mentioned that this is a new laptop that I'm on. I didn't have time to get this taken care of before this stream, but the next time you see new content come out, besides the K-Luke and Rack into a Rye Batch 3 video, which those were shot like 2 months ago. I need to edit those and get those out. The next stuff that you see besides those 2 videos, we've got some new toys here. So we're upgrading the 2 that I have in front of me to some brand new stuff, which I'm very excited about. Hopefully I will stop falling out of focus in every video every 20 seconds. I have to always cut cameras because I'm falling out of focus in both cameras. It's so bad. Okay. Shenks and Bombergers, 2025 edition. I'll have to pull up the casking to remind myself as we get into these. All right, so again, I'm seeing like screen names, so I'm gonna type out screen names for these super chats. So I got you in for one. That looks like Justin, but you know, I can't tell on my end. All right, Calvin's in for 4. Thank you for the super chat. So this said cheers, appreciate it. Cheers right back at you. And we've got a $20 super chat here. What a lineup tonight. Excited for this. Cheers. Thank you, Calvin. Appreciate it. Sent mine with PayPal. I'll get to the PayPals. I'm going to get an early jump on those tonight. All right. So, Shenks. 91.2 proof on the Shenks. Now, I believe this 2025 Shenks, which is a Kentucky sour mash whiskey, whatever that means in this context. I believe the Shenks 2025 is finished or aged or something in toasted but not charred French oak. To accentuate the rye character, some of the fully matured whiskey was finished in toasted only French oak barrels that were not charred. So there you go. We've got French oak going on in here. Sipping on Cellar's 23 while I wait for my 25. I like 23 a lot, especially over 24. Uncle Kenny already making waves. I've decided on dots of pretzels with my signature carved ice, Chris. Just need a sofa chair in the corner. Lofty Couch, thank you, man. Get you in here for 2. In for 2. Hey, That Shenk's actually had a nice little kind of creamy sweetness in the mid palate. Start with, there you go. Kenny's onto the Maker's Gold 101. One of my favorite Dusties. Yeah, all right. So the Shenk's has like sort of a sour, sort of like a sour, peachy nectarine thing going on here on the nose, as well as like some creamy, some sort of like creamy oaky sweetness. It almost reminds me, I mean, I know this is toasted French oak, right? It almost has a little Mizunara character to it for me, where you get that kind of creaminess going on here. The thing that kills the Shenk's, and obviously makers knows this because they're choosing this proof point for a reason, the thing that kills it is the proof, 91.2. Now my question always with these, you know, Shenks and Bomberger's releases, because we don't know the age of whatever's in the bottle, my question is like, does this whiskey come off young? Because they're not giving us an age statement. They're not even giving us a range of ages. We know that it's at least 4 years old, just, you know, by the verbiage on the bottles. Calling these Kentucky straight bourbon, in the case of the Bombergers, straight's at least 2 years old, but if it's under 4, they have to state the age. That's not the case. So this is, you know, in my mind, you're looking at probably like 6, 7, 8 year whiskey. That's just like a total guess. But because we don't know the age, I like to, my first evaluation of these whiskeys is, does it taste young? Because if it tastes young, that's a huge knock on a whiskey that they're, you know, basically making a limited edition product each year. The series, what do they call this series? There's like a name for this series. Is it like the Legacy series or something? Either way, that's like my first knock if they end up coming off young. I don't think the Shenk's really does. I think this feels like, if I guessed this blind, I'd say it smells like a 7-year whiskey. Little pop of spice in there, like a little rye character up front, more in that white pepper range. It's not like it's not an herbal spice, and it's definitely not like baking spice. It's not like a rich spice. It's white pepper, a little floral character maybe on the front end, but that's short-lived. Then you get into some of those like creamier sweet notes that are sort of counterbalancing a slightly tart nectarine, peach, you know, these lighter fruit, little citrusy kind of character, which to me, I'm getting citrus, I'm getting a decent bit of spice. I think there's like kind of a nice little rye aspect to this whiskey overall, tempered by that French oak, you know, toasted quality. Now, usually when you say French oak to me and you say toasted to me, those are two things I don't care for because they can really overpower the whiskey. I think the balance is here on this Shenk's. Problem is the price point, you know? Like, this does not drink like a special whiskey. And I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It really reminds me of a Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 2 product. And I might actually grab like, I mean, the best comparison to this is probably just like a straight up Blanton's. Like, I got a store pick back there. It really reminds me of Mash Bill 2, Buffalo Trace. Proof point makes sense as well. Not saying that's where it's sourced from. I'm just saying that's kind of the profile. Thank you, Lofty Couch. I got you in there last time. Volk 2144 in for one. Says cheers in for the long shot. Appreciate it. Who do we got here? All right, Santiago. TC13. In for 4. Thank you. Nice lineup. No sips for me tonight watching while at work. Well, man, I hope you're surviving work. It's a little late. But cheers, man. Thank you for the super chat. We got Tyler, 5375. In for 5. Appreciate it, man. Says cheers all. Cheers right back at you. Sam is freaking late, dude. What are you doing? And Lip Service Crew. Lip service, that's what I do when I say I'm going to make new videos. In for 1. Appreciate it. I've been told from people at Michter's it's 5 to 9 years in Bombergers. Okay. That's quite the range. Let's pour, you know, just to satisfy my curiosity on this side-by-side. I always feel like I'm going to break the cork. Blanton's get stuck. There we go. So this is a store pick This is Sarah and I's wedding date, which it was actually our anniversary 2 days ago. So 4th wedding anniversary. What a time for that. But just with everything that's been going on, it's been crazy. Let's see what this is like. 93 proof versus 91 proof for the Shenks. It's a good a time, as good a time as ever to drink this bottle because Sarah and I actually did not. We did not have a pour of our wedding bottle two nights ago. We should have, but okay. All right. The way I would put it, the Buffalo or the Blanton's has a teeny bit more honey than the Shenks. The way I would say it is like this year's Shenks just smells to me like Blanton's that spent a little bit of time in a toasted barrel. Just a bit. Like it's not an overly toasted profile, which is why I like this Shenks. Let's take a sip of the Blanton's. Happy anniversary to Sarah. All right, so that's 93 proof. Thin. The Shanks has actually got a lot more body to it and certainly more rye spice. More oak, more rye spice. So, you know what? This is too expensive. This should be $30, $40 cheaper in my opinion. However, I like it. There's nothing special about this whiskey whatsoever, but it's at the very least, it's not a bad batch. It's not like super young bad whiskey. It's, I think, well balanced for what it is. There you go. I mean, am I picking this up? No. There's no reason to pick up this Shanks. It's a cool whiskey to have, I guess, and I might sip it once every 2 years, like legitimately. And with considering, having hundreds of bottles or something, in that situation, I'm never going to go to this. If I have 10 bottles, then that's a different story. Maybe I'll pick this up more often. But that's not because I want or need to. It's just because of a numbers game at that point. Thank you, guys. Adam, thanks, man. Thank you for the super chat. I got you in for 10, dude. I'm in, baby. There we go. There we go. All right, for Adam, we're going to move on to the Bombergers now. So everybody likes Bombergers. Everybody likes this more than Shanks. It seems like year to year, I don't know that I've ever heard of a year where people are like, yes, I want the Shanks over the Bombergers. So let's see. All right. Bombergers has a little, and this is 108 proof. This is bourbon, non-age stated. This has a little banana, just a teeny bit of banana in there for me. Almost like a Brown-Forman-esque banana kind of note. It's not super prevalent, but it's there. Shanks is the sour mash whiskey, yeah. Austin, thank you, man. Let me get you in here for one. I think you sent another one. That's the merch link, guys. Austin's super chat. I'll get you in for 2 now. Super chatting while also doing his mod job. Thanks, man. Not that it's a job. He's unpaid. Unpaid labor. I mean, every Michter's bottle should be 20% cheaper. Exactly, yeah. Jeremy's right. Michter's deserves its slight premium for what it does with its barrels. I agree, I think, in some cases. Like, yeah. And especially like the 10-year stuff, I will agree that the 10-year, while I still think 180 is crazy, whatever, I think that's the SRP of those, it's wildly impressive whiskey at the lower proof points. But yeah, for like the barrel strength stuff, for instance, barrel strength bourbon, barrel strength rye, like these prices are getting out of control now for some of those. Toasted, different story. Like I think the toasted products, while they're very hit or miss for me, they're certainly unique and they appeal heavily to their own audiences. But the barrel strength stuff, Shanks in particular, like that premium is just kills me on those, but on the others I am more understanding. Let me go ahead and pull some super chats up here. We're going to start with Venmo. So Aaron O'Donovan. Thank you for the super chat. In for 10. Appreciate it, with a little party emoji. Mr. Travis R. is in for 2. Says, might as well give it the old college try and fail miserably. We'll see, man. Jesse in for 2 says, spoiler. And we'll get Tom in here before we go to this Bombergers. Tom Lonzo in for freaking 10 as well. Thank you, guys. Tom says, not sure I'll make the live, but here's to that crazy lineup. Cheers, Tom. All right. So, Bombergers. I actually am picking up... this is a little bit more grain forward, strangely. I know it's a higher proof. It's usually regarded as a higher quality product by a lot of people. I pick up more youth on this, strangely. But on the flip side of that, I also pick up more fruit, like maybe just like darker fruit, because the Shanks did have some fruit. But I pick up a little darker fruit in here. It's almost like a little wisp of like blackberry or something, blackberry or blueberry in here. I'd say blackberry probably. Very much in the background though. See, I'm out of focus. New cameras are gonna fix that. I hope. Decent like vanilla bean note on here. Vanilla bean ice cream. And again, like a little bit of that banana, but it's not an offensive amount. But it has kind of like a youthfulness to it. Crawls up my nose a little bit. I mean, yeah, listen. The proof is nice. I mean, yeah, like it drinks. It's so much more interesting on the palate. Yeah, so much more interesting than the Shanks. I do appreciate right now like this very intense vanilla sweetness that's lingering in the finish. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a mixture of like vanilla bean ice cream, almost like vanilla flavored yogurt. And I know that might sound like a bad note. I promise it's not a bad note in this case. It's not like a bad dairy note like a lot of Maker's stuff has on it. But yeah, it still kind of has this youthful, like grainy spice. Grainy spice drives me crazy. I don't know. Like the mouthfeel for 108 proof, like just the presence of it on the palate is good. It's weird. Like I know most people would gravitate probably to that higher proof and to that more intense drinking experience. But I kind of like the Shanks better this year, just because the Bombergers comes off youthful. And if I wanted youthful whiskey, I wouldn't be spending the money like to get this Bombergers to get that experience. That's only like 20 to 25% of the experience. The other parts are actually pretty nice. But when you put all of it together, I just think that makes less sense to me. And here's the deal. I'm not like a Bombergers hater. I had a 2021 Bombergers that I was crazy about. I thought it was amazing. Like just not amazing, but I thought it was great. And the Shanks from that year too was so interesting. So oaky, kind of tasted like IW Harper 15. It had a little mustiness to it, which I liked. But I think I'd probably like the Shanks this year. You know, do I think either of these are things I'm going to run out and buy? No, but I actually appreciate how different the Shanks is from other whiskeys. Speaking of the 23 or 24 I have open, can't remember which. Yeah, I don't know that I've tried like the last few years. I never can remember because I never buy them. After the 21s, I know I had samples between 2021 and now. I don't know which years they were. Wasn't crazy about them, and so I kind of shied away from buying them myself until right now. And this was kind of like a second chance, revisit the line. It's a little bit of a fail for me, but those 21s I loved. So I'm not just saying this because I'm averse to these products like overall. Phil says, kind of done with both Shanks and Bomb. Have both 23, 24 of them, just don't reach. Even the PFG didn't do much. I agree on the PFG. I think the PFG is overdone. But that's because I'm not a big like finished, especially French oak, 40 months or whatever in French oak. That's not quite up my alley. 11 months, 10 months, 11 in Patreon. This is getting serious. There we go. Commitment. Thanks for being here, dude. All right, Mr. Preston. In for 2. Appreciate it. Cheers to that. Oh, Slad. He says, by the way, Cam, nice hat. Glad you got rid of that trashy one from last time. Here, man, we do a little switcheroo. There you go, Adam. There's the next 30 minutes is sponsored by the Collection Whiskey Club. Thank you, Adam. Just checked. It's a 23 Shenks. I could send a sample if you want. Remind me the casking on the 23. Because I can't remember why the 2021 for me was so great. I loved it so much. And I can't remember why. I don't know if it was different casking back then or like what the deal was. And obviously Michter's products are wildly inconsistent year to year. Adam. All right, last sip of this Shanks. It's tough coming off the Bombergers because now it tastes like water. But when I was in lower proof territory, I liked it. Bombergers, I think, just needs like 2 more years in the barrel. We got to round out those rough edges on it. Those like spicy, youthful, grainy edges that the whiskey has. Shanks and Bombergers SRP. Let's look this up. Okay, so Shanks is 110 and Bombergers is 120. Yeah, see, like Bombergers to me, that's not $120 whiskey. Bombergers is like, I mean, I think both of these are like $70, $80 bottles as far as just overall quality compared to things in the market. I put them around 70, 80. So for me, it's like to recommend this as a buy, this year is just a no-go kind of across the board. But it would have to be that they're exceptional, and then I'm also giving them the benefit of the doubt at the price point. Maybe they're super unique or something else. Then I would recommend them. That's what it would take for me to recommend them, I should say. But not this time. Gotta remember to hydrate this evening. Guys, thanks for being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. We got 180 people hanging out. It's awesome. Jason. Cam's slogan, rough around the edges. Just think, it all started with Russell's 15. And I love, it's a good phrase. Russell's 15 is slightly less rough around the edges these days, you know? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Excuse me, I have a 1987 Elijah Craig 18. I remember you telling me you've never had a Dusty EC18. Would you take a sample? I would definitely take a sample. Since I said that, I mean, I actually still haven't had a Dusty EC18. I have had a Dusty EC23. So I would love to sip that whiskey, but also I don't want you to send that. Like if you don't have very much left or whatever, you should keep that and drink it yourself. I would happily sip that whiskey on a live stream, like 100,000,000%. I would sip that. I actually need to do a review because I just bought a bottle of EC18. So if you know what, if you do want to send it, I would love to compare that in the review to current day. I think that'd be kind of interesting. So you can just email me if you want, drumsanddrams@gmail.com. That would be fun. We can set that up. Oh, is that Cameron from Patreon? Just shoot me a message. Kenny, I like his new hat too, but you can barely see his shirt. What? Shirt is on backwards. Okay. Let's get these glasses out of here. Okay. I think it's probably time to... What do you guys think? Do we go up in proof? Do we go to the Bardstown Discovery 13 or do we do the Makers next? Makers is wheated. Bardstown is slightly lower proof, but it's double oaked. So we could go double oaked spicy or we could go wheated next. I'm thinking maybe wheated, even though the proof is a teeny bit higher. Bro, I'm bringing you a black Evernorth hat next week when I come down. Dude, I'm not going to be at KBF. Although maybe you're passing through, huh? Maybe you're passing through Columbus. Tom says Disco 11 greater than 13. Interesting. Okay, we'll see. I don't have 11 up here. I think I only have 12 in this room right now. Oh, here we go, watching this while I lesson plan for my students. Cheers. Don't have too much while you're lesson planning. Or maybe have too much. All right, Eric says, portion aged in 18-month air-dried and seasoned wood with our signature toast and char. Portion was aged in toasted French oak. That sounds similar to this year's. They don't explicitly say it wasn't charred, but that kind of leads me to believe. Also, first use malted rye. Okay. Maybe that's why the rye influence of Shenk's is feels more intense right now. Cam, what has been the most surprising sip of the year? God, I'm so bad at questions like this because I don't keep good notes of stuff like that. Like if someone asks me like a favorite movie or a surprising this, I'm really bad at those questions. This is one of them, you know, and I hate it because it's an $800 bottle. But this Rathskeller Revival is, and again, we're going to get into it tonight compared against these other 18-year Bartons. That's been a huge shock to me. I thought listen, I know people are back and forth on this, saying like that if you like this bottle, you're crazy. Old Granddad 7-year bottled and bond, in that price range, humongous shock to me that one's so good because to me it's not that nutty. It's got this like dreamsicle like sweet creamy citrus profile to it that I like. I'm just turning around to look here at what else has possibly been surprising. And a lot of stuff I've moved down to the basement at this point. I don't know, man. I'd have to think more about that. I'm sure other people in the chat can remember some things that I've probably said in recent live streams or in Patreon. We'll go Makers next then. And I'll probably grab the Star Hill to throw in this comparison. Yeah, and so the Old Fitz bottled and bond was youngish. Yeah, I thought the Old Fitz was too. I actually like the Granddad better than the Fitz. Kenny, I'm going to do this in a video. I'm going to do this in its own little triangle blind thing. I have tried them, and to me, Kenny, they were different, but grain of salt, because I don't think I did it blind. But yeah, guys, we might have another laser code situation with the Old Granddad 7-year bottled and bond, because the first bottle Kenny and I cracked was amazing, and Kenny's saying the second one he tried was not the same. Here we go. What's up? DJ's in the house. Oh, Barrel Foolproof. Great call. See, that one's in the basement, so I'm not turning around and seeing it right now. Barrel Foolproof was a huge surprise to me. I love that bottle. Just because it's in the basement doesn't mean I don't love it. It just means I'm not going to get to it because I can't even keep up right now with review stuff. And then JD12 actually this year, but that wasn't a surprise. That was an expected good bottle. But Slav's just giving me crap for the Matt Madness fiasco. All right, let's go weeded. So let's go Makers 2025. 2023, we're skipping 24 because I just didn't care for it. And let's see. Star Hill Farm. By the way, I got this little, I spent $40 on this. This is from like the 50s or 60s or something. But it's called Old Drum. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I bought this from someone on secondary. The straight whiskeys in this product are 3 years or more old. 25% straight whiskey, 75% grain neutral spirit. That's hilarious. Super young, super light color. Definitely never going to crack this and open it, but Old Drum. There you go. Maybe we could revive that brand if it's defunct. Although I'm sure someone would have something to say about that, I'm sure. Okay. Get the Blantons out of here. I'm not going to do this blind, or should I do this blind? Should we do these three weeders blind tonight, or should we just go for this as a straight up side by side. What's most informative for you guys? Probably just a side by side comparison, right? Yeah. Rarebird says, wouldn't surprise me if Star Hill wins. It would not surprise me either. Just go for it. Okay. So on your left is the 2023. I don't know why I poured that much. My 2025, the cork is so flared out, it will barely go back in the bottle. Like, all right. And then Star Hill Farm, which again is a wheat whiskey. I think I gave that like an 85 out of 100. I gotta get back on this scoring thing and update all my scores. I need a little bit more of that in the glass. Guys, I can do this blind another time. I'm just gonna rip it right now because I think it'll be most informative. Because I don't really have a dog in this fight, honestly. If the 2024 was in here, I would have a little bias because I always feel like I don't like that one. But I don't think I have really any bias. I know I like the Star Hill, but, you know, is what it is. Yeah, so Star Hill is a wheat whiskey. And I'll give you the stats here on these cellar aged. Let me grab a few more super chats here from Venmo. Have I missed anything here in the live chat? I don't think I have. Nope, I think we're good. Is the Star Hill a special release? I'm actually not sure. Do you guys know what the frequency of Star Hill is? Is it going to be like a once a year thing? All right, Ashby Turner is in for 5 entries. Appreciate it. The little ticket emoji. That's awesome. All right, we got Mike G in for 10. Dude, thank you, Mike. Jeez, man. It says super chat. Ben Arrington is in for 4. Thank you, Ben. Thursday, 828 chat. We got Michael Gow in for 10. Wow. Give me that old Elkwood. Cheers, dude. Thank you for the super chat. Let me grab 3 more real quick here. Marshall. Just going to put Marshall. For 8, says, wish that Dickel was on display tonight. I don't know what that means. We do have a 20-year Dickel barrel dropping next Friday, but only 48 bottles came out of that barrel, so that's going to be crazy. Thank you, Marshall. Jeremy White is in for 4, says Jake and Elkwood Blues. And Leo is in for 2. So let me get Leo in here. Thank you, Leo. Said Taco Fund. All right, appreciate it, guys. Let's get into this. I still have about 8 people in Venmo to get to, but we're doing pretty well tonight, actually. 21090, what's up? All right. So, 2023 Maker's Cellar is 115.7 proof. Try to remember just 115, basically. This year's is 112.9. So I think this might be the lowest proof they've done. I can't remember what 24 was, but a couple proof points lower there, basically 113. And then Star Hill is 114.7. So we're within the same spectrum, proof-wise. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look first at the 2025 Cellar Aged. And then we'll go back and forth on the comparisons. All right, first thing I get on the nose. Huh. So there's freshness in one way, and there's kind of like burnt caramel, bitter sweetness in another way. So freshness on here is kind of your like your standard Maker's Fare, which is like red apple, you know, maybe sometimes strawberry, but I think actually as these things get older, as you get into this 2025 release, which is 11, 13, and 14 years old in the blend, I think you start to lose some of that strawberry. And it kind of deepens the red apple, deeper caramels in here, and less of that bright, sweet, abrasive sort of dairy quality that you get. You get a lot of like yeastiness on here, kind of yogurt almost. That ages out, and I think you get deeper fruits. But I do find it interesting that I'm getting like kind of this burnt caramel thing going on, which has a little that like tinge of bittersweetness. Doesn't smell bad by any means. Smells good. It's a little tight on the nose, interestingly. Like wheaters, sometimes we associate with being very sweet, kind of easy, approachable whiskeys. This is a little constricted on the nose. All right, I'm not going to talk too much about the first sip, except to say there's a massive, like, it hits the palate, and then it's like, woo, and it just falls off a cliff. That I'm not going to talk tasting notes on the first sip, but just experientially, big drop off. I don't feel like I remember that drop off in the earlier years. We'll see with the 2023, and also proof. 23 is going to be higher proof, so maybe that's going to help it a little bit in the comparison. Man, all right. So let's dig back in now. As I go back to the nose, I am starting to get a little bit more of that, like, that Maker's vanilla sweetness, slight tinge of yeastiness on here, but this doesn't make me cringe. Like, usually Maker's products, I'm just freaked out. The staving, the overall profile doesn't really work for me. I get 5% of that here on the nose. So it works. It works in tandem with everything else. It's awfully spicy up front. And then it's gone. It's just like residual. I mean, God, I know it's a wheater, but it's crazy. The front of the palate drinks like 120 proof, and 3.5 seconds later, it drinks like it's 86 proof. It's a huge difference. And there's a lot of spice up front for a wheater, and then it's just gone. So I don't even think I would call that spice. I think the front palate is just a proof hit, and then nothing. So I got to see if the 23 does the same thing. The 23 on the nose, I think smells better. I feel myself going into like dissertation mode in my head, and I don't want to go like too into the weeds with these things and just start babbling, because I do enough of that on these streams, It's like, overall, I think the 2025 is older. Well, actually, the average ages probably even out between these two. So never mind. 25 has older stuff in the blend, but maybe similar overall age when you do the averages. The reason I'm saying that is, like, in some ways the 23 smells older because there's more oak. There's more straight up old aged oak note on the 2023, but the 2025, because it's a little lower proof, it's a little darker overall profile, it feels old in that way, but not in the oaky way. Whereas the 23 feels old in the oaky way, but the actual profile of the whiskey is a little bit brighter than the 2025. So there's kind of like this, give and take between the two different years in this comparison. But overall, I feel like on this 23, it's got so much more to offer out of the glass on the nose. It is a little brighter. It's a little more like maybe like pomegranate on the nose. I want to say pomegranate, a little more like straight up cherry. Still with that apple freshness, red apple freshness. Softer on the front of the palate than the 25 by a lot, but there's a steady build through the whole thing. Even for a wheater, it's a subtle slope upwards as far as development and growth on the palate, but it's just enough to keep this thing from falling off. And now going back to the 25, burst up front, gone. So that's easy. The 23 is head and shoulders above the 25, and I did not do this comparison before this stream. This bottle, this 23, just got here today. I cracked it just before the stream started. The 25 for me is a total no-go. I'm gonna try the Star Hill now. We'll just throw it in the mix. But I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it to be such a stark difference. I don't know what they did with this 23 batch. I'm glad the first batch was as good as it was. But Red Apple Freshness was my high school prog rock band. That's awesome. You playing at the talent show, Red Apple Freshness. Cam would love to know your tech stack, old and new cameras, mic software. I owe you an email, man. I'm so sorry I haven't responded to that. That hit right around the time things started to get kind of wonky over here. I am going to do my best to remember to get back after this stream tomorrow. Tech stack on this. So my current cameras are Sony A7S IIs, and I have the first gen Sigma 24-70 art lenses. So yeah, A7S II, Sigma 24-70, and in this room I need to have zoom lenses because, just flexibility when I was making this setup. If I committed to having a 50 or something else, a 35, then I'd be very limited as to how I could set things up in here. So the zoom lenses work well. So I got two A7S IIs. They both have Ninjas on them, recorders to get past the time limit. I run my mic into a Behringer UV1, which is a channel strip plus audio interface combination, and I think it's like one of the best things for a situation like this. It's phenomenal. It's got compressor in it, it's got noise gate, and it's hardware, so I'm not taking up CPU doing that on my computer, and then you introduce issues between audio and video, and you have to add some delay in there. So I run into that UV1, which is a lifesaver. It's what I recommend everybody get when other YouTubers will ask, like, what are you running? And that's, I think, a game changer. Microphone is an MKH 416, I think is what it is, the Sennheiser. So that's a pretty standard boom mic. It's on a super long boom stand. My monitor, I don't know, but it's huge. Probably like 30, for me right now, at least in this room, it's huge. Probably like 36 inches. I'd have to measure it. So I'm going now to A7S IIIs with the second gen of the Sigma 24-70 zoom lenses. A7S III is a big upgrade. And then my Mac, it's a new 16-inch MacBook Pro M4 Max chip. I've souped it all the way up, except only 4 terabytes instead of 8 terabytes of storage, but everything else is maxed out. So that's kind of what I'm running now. I think that's it. Oh man, I'm telling you, 2023 Makers. I love that nose. Yeah, 25 is kind of dead in the water. As I go back to 25, I actually get a little bit of clove on this that I didn't pick up at first. Only when you do the comparison do I kind of get the clove. 23 I would buy. Like, I'm not a secondary price for this, take it or leave it. It's like $250, $275. It is what it is. I'd buy that again. 25, if I were you guys, if I saw 25 at SRP, I'm not buying it. I don't think, I think the blend of 2025 is just, I think it's just a bad blend. I think the 23, I think that blend is just great. 25 is just not working. Jeremy says wide angle to look bigger. It's funny. Well, I don't know what these are set at actually on the zooms. I'd have to get up there and check. Robert Con 713, thank you for the super chat. Says I'm in. Got you in for 2, man. Appreciate it. I wish it showed people's actual names and not their like detailed screen names on there. Hit the like, y'all. What's up, Mojo? Good to see you, dude. Yeah, I don't know the size of the screen. It might not be 36 inches. It might be a little bit less. But I got the computer set up, Brandon. Now my cameras are the next step. Those came in yesterday. What did you think of the Maker's BP? It was good. Like, it was good, but I just am not a big Maker's person, so. All right, let's go to Star Hill real quick. Wow. Star Hill has so much like caramelization on the nose. It's so like brown buttery. And normally when if I would smell Star Hill Farm outside of these other Makers products, just totally in isolation, that's a totally different thing than what I'm talking about right now, because I already have Makers on my palate and in my nose. I've got all these red apple notes. You know, a lot of the standard Makers profile I'm accustomed to already. So as I go to this Star Hill, I'm mostly picking up right now on whatever's different than what I've already tasted. And so because of that, I'm getting like all of this really rich baking spice and brown buttery kind of profile. Yes, I know it's still Makers, it still has those red fruits, but because this is wheat whiskey, I think I'm just getting all of that, like, yeah, it's caramelization is the best word for me on the nose. Doesn't smell as old. Oh, but the palate, dude. It tastes a little younger, which it is. The palate's killer. Who would have ever thought a wheat whiskey could drink like that? I mean, God, that is awesome. I didn't realize 27% of it is malted soft red winter wheat. I didn't realize that. Let's go back to the 2023, which actually, the 2023 Cellar Age has more fruit. It's also more sour on the nose. Totally different experiences. I think I like the Star Hill Farm better. Even though it doesn't taste quite as old, I think the Star Hill Farm is the best, probably the best Makers product that I've had. Probably the best Makers product that I've had outside of Dusty's. I think is probably Star Hill Farm. I mean, that is great whiskey. It's really good. Surprising. Cool. That's a fun comparison. Moral of the story: don't buy this 2025. This is whoever gets the sample packs tonight. You're getting the 23 in there also. You can do the comparison for yourself, but I think you'll see what I mean. Off to the graveyard for the 2025 Maker Cellar Age. That is not gonna... I'm probably selling my open locally tomorrow. Just pick one of these up. If you guys see this bottle, I think it's $100. Okay, don't love the price. Who cares? That's a great bottle. All right, Adam, your 30 minutes of sponsored time is up. We're gonna go back to the Bardstown hat. Thank you to the Collection Whiskey Club for sponsoring the last half hour of the live stream. He said Dookie. Rarebird says, agree, best Maker's Mark. It's not a Dusty or an export. And as far as exports, what's out there as an export for Makers? I feel like I hear less about that just because when you think export, you probably automatically think of Turkey or Evan Williams 12 nowadays. Star Hill has 2 malted grains. Does it have 2? Oh, okay, malted barley. Right. And actually, 22% malted barley is a pretty high content. What is normal Maker's mash? Maker's Mark mash bill. $70 corn, 16 wheat, 14 barley. And this is 22 barley. So yeah. I wonder if that malted barley percentage adds more of that like body on the palate that you would probably lose if you had more, if you left that at 14% malted barley and you had 8% more wheat in there, maybe you would lose a little bit more mouthfeel. Every time I try this freaking Star Hill, I like it more and more. And I gave it, again, who cares what my scores are? You know, I'm so new to scoring and all that, but for me, I gave it an 85. I feel like it could even be a little higher than that, you know? It's not, if you compare it to something like a Elijah Craig C923 or whatever, which I also would regard as like a mid to high 80s, you'd be talking about two completely different whiskeys. So a side-by-side isn't very helpful. Kenny says, dude, makers could put a huge ripple in the industry if they release 12-year product. Where am I going here? 12-year product at 115 to barrel proof that spent the whole life in the rick. I agree, dude. We had it on the tour, so that's cool. I've definitely not tried that. I'd love to try that. I'm sure it's great. The Cellar thing, maybe like a lot of that sourness is coming from the Cellar. Because though, you know, even the 23 has quite a bit of sourness to the profile. Adam is jumping back in even after losing his sponsored hat segment of the live stream. Adam's in for 4 more. Thanks, bro. another 30. Listen, I can be bought. Here we go. Between Adam paying me for the hat time and Rarebird sending me these bottles, we got a fully sponsored stream, guys. We're ready to freaking go. That's funny. All right, Terry Powers, Bernheim cast strength single barrels. Single barrels. Are they doing pics of that, or are you talking about the bottle your own experience? Thank you, Terry, for the super chat. Oh, didn't they one time bottle a 14-year for the bottle your own? It was kind of just like a one-off thing that they did, or was that in the? I know they did a select stock that was older, but I feel like they did it for a Bernheim as a surprise. But I might just be thinking of the select stock, honestly. I'm not sure. Thank you, Terry. What's Bardstown paying him? Gotta up that contract. Adam Stores hiding all the Star Hill. The gold and black makers were exports. Are they still doing those, David? Be curious to see how Star Hill stands up against the New Riff Red Wheat that just came out. Yeah, I haven't thought about that bottle. I haven't thought about getting that one, the New Riff. What's up, Toshi? Damn, I'm late doing dishes and jamming out to Morgan Wallen when I realized you might be live. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we take care of our ambassadors. Oh, Jason, yeah, we'll get to these Elkwoods, man. It was bottle your own, says Terry. Okay. DMT Phone says, I get that sour note pretty much on all makers. I hope it would age out if it isn't aged in the fridge. I think the Star Hill pretty much gets rid of it. Chris, thank you for the super chat. In for 4. Gotcha, man. No, those are the Dusties, right. Yeah, the Maker's Gold Wax. I haven't had the black, but the gold is awesome. Forgot to say I'm just passing to get the Bardstown hat back. It says Chris. Okay, let's get in. Speaking, actually, Adam, you know what? You got 26 minutes left or whatever, you know? We'll come back to those minutes, but we got to get the Bardstown hat on because we're doing Bardstown Discovery 13, all right? So, I'm just kidding. Bardstown did not sponsor this. I'm not on the media list for those guys. Although I love Ron. So we got a blend of 4 whiskeys, double-barreled, 110.8 proof, very holographic on the front here. It, honestly, you know what it reminds me of? It's got like Pokemon card vibes. Pokemon trading card vibes from my youth. That's what this whole little thing, you know, on the front, this little strip, it's holographic. It's funny. All right, so 110.8 proof. It's a blend of 8 to 15 year in here. The 9 year, there's 45% 9 year in here. Appears to be Barton, 74-18-8. Everything with a grain of salt these days. 22% Kentucky 9 year. Appears to be Heaven Hill, 78-10-12. Could be Bardstown, take it with a grain of salt. 20% of a Kentucky 15-year, 75, 13, 12. I'm still going to speculate that that's buff turkey and not real turkey, but that's just my opinion. Don't take that for anything else than that. And 13% of a Kentucky 8-year, 70, 21, 9. That's a Green River mash bill. That would make sense. Again, these days with Bardstown making all these mash bills, Green River doing stuff, all these other distilleries doing random stuff like buff turkey, it's hard to say where anything comes from. I like to speculate, but I always, if I'm going to speculate like I am right now, I'm always going to say take it with a grain of salt. Okay, first impression. This smells very, very, very double oaked. Like, right away, you get a little like barbecue-y burnt ends thing going on. Coffee, you know, barrel char, burnt marshmallow, like a campfire, like all of those things right off the bat. This screams double oaked. And double barreled in American and Hungarian oak is what it says on the front. You know, it's a $140 bottle. Let's keep that in mind. Yeah, I always wish that, like, in the case of doing a double oak product like this, especially when you have like some older whiskey in the blend, especially at this price point, just a little less double oaking, you know, because this is just screaming out of the glass, and I feel like I could get this nosing experience on a $70 bottle because it's just so heavily double oaked on the nose. Palate could be totally different. I mean, I'm going to come back to the nose because that's all I can smell. Until I get this on the palate, I think I'm only smelling the secondary barreling. All right. So interesting, this one. I feel like, so Dan Calloway, I think, blends all of this stuff now. I feel like something that he appreciates, just this is a total like inference based on just recent releases from Bardstown Bourbon Company, I guess. I feel like if he's the singular person blending these, and there's a through line between the things I've tasted in the last 2 years or something like that, it would be balance. I feel like he wants whiskeys that aren't necessarily flavor bombs, where you have like a crazy ramp up into the finish, or a massive front of the palate. I feel like he appreciates, based on what I'm tasting, an even-keeled whiskey, kind of like the whole way through. Subtlety, maybe, is a good way to put it. If not subtlety, definitely just balance and evenness, you know? And so even though this is, in my opinion, for my taste, which is not a taste that loves a lot of heavily double-oaked and toasted things, I think this is overdone in the finishing barrels. I thought the same thing about Discovery 8, which was also either staved or finished in secondary barrels, one of the two. Even though I think that's the case with this one, I think that the palate has a lot more balance than you would expect based on the nose. Like, the palate has that same refinement to the experience that I feel like I've gotten over the last couple of years from Bardstown releases. Does anybody else feel the same on that? All right. Got a super chat I got to get here with Adam. Okay, so as I go back to the nose now, it's like, you know, you could tell me there's dark fruit in here. I would believe you, but it's not something that I notice just outside of those secondary barrel notes. The only other thing that I'm starting to pick up now on the nose that I wasn't the first time before I sipped it is kind of like I said this note earlier about Shenk's 2021 and IW Harper 15, kind of like a mustiness, not funky, a mustiness, like musty basement a little bit. That's not always a bad note either. Like, I actually appreciate that note in a lot of cases. This has a little bit of that, which is kind of like a heavily aged whiskey note, very much in the background. You have to look for it. Otherwise, it's just very campfire and, you know, kind of coffee, barrel char. Palate, front of the palate. Yes, there's a lot of like barrel impact, but it's not a huge flash of flavor up front. Very even keeled. The spice does not ramp up through the whiskey. It just goes like this the whole way. It's so like, I don't know. I use the word placid sometimes for whiskeys. It's kind of like that. It's good. Like the aftertaste right now is really nice. More of like that burnt marshmallow kind of slightly sweeter profile is happening on the mid palate into the finish. Whereas I feel like the nose and the front of the palate are heavy, more like, you know, bitter barrel char kind of notes. And it's quite a long finish. It's not a spicy finish, but it's just a flavorful oaky finish. But, you know, at $140, I don't know. I feel like you could have gotten this profile. You could probably go to like, I don't know. Like I'm thinking about like we did a short barrel Burai blend, and it was like $80 or $85 or something like that. I think something like that. You're gonna get this probably very similar experience for a lot less money. So if you're crazy about double barreled products, you might like this, but it's also not a flavor bomb. So at $140, I feel like I need this to be a flavor bomb or have some other element to it to justify that price tag if you're gonna really finish the crap out of the whiskey. Although like the whiskey nerd in me does like the subtlety of it. But it's not enough to make me torn. I think my mind is easily made up on this just because, I don't know. It's like, it feels like almost a little bit of like misplaced effort in the blend. Whereas like I want the effort to go more towards less finishing. Make this a more interesting whiskey with less secondary barrel notes, instead of trying to balance this whiskey on the palate with a heavily over-finished profile. So I think the effort was there, and I think it's actually a really great showing for this kind of a blend to maintain that level of nuance. But I just don't think it needs. I don't think it needs to be in the Discovery series. Like if you're gonna double oak these like 8 and 13, do that in another series and call that something else. It doesn't need to be in the Discovery series, in my opinion. I'm done on this. I promise. Brandon, thank you for the super chat, man. It's a good fall whiskey. It's an even-keeled, outdoors campfire fall whiskey. It's just not a $140 whiskey. I got you in for 4, man. Appreciate it. Where has Disco 13 showed up? I really don't know. Can't remember where I got this. I think someone in Minnesota maybe had it. And I don't know if the distilleries dropped it. I saw media samples have gone out to people. What's up, Jesse? Won't be able to join the chat, but I'm lurking for a bit, he says. Not on the media list, but buys a full bottle. Shame on Bardstown. Need to recognize. No, actually, you know, I think less media. I know companies do media samples to get the products in the hands of people, and then you see this slew of positive reviews, people that never want to say anything bad about products. And I'm not calling out like YouTubers specifically. In fact, mostly I'm calling out Instagrammers and TikTokers. Just different business models, you know, between YouTube and those things. I kind of like that I'm not on a lot of media lists. Like, it's nice to get products. Puts you in an awkward position when you want to when you say negative things about them or have, you know, critiques. And like tonight, I'm gonna taste these Raconteurs probably right now. That David Jennings sent, and like right now for me, Raconteurs, I'm like 2 for 3. I loved batch 1 and batch 2, and batch 3 was a little bit more of a miss for me. And it puts you in a little awkward position, but like so in some ways I like to buy the bottles, so then I don't feel tethered to my feelings. Even if I bought these and I talked about them on this stream, I would still feel just as awkward, when Rarebird's in the chat, just because, you never want to critique a friend's work. But it is what it is, I like to buy the bottles, though. That's what the Patreon's for. The Patreon pays for that stuff, and then we give it back in sample giveaways and stuff like that. So, notice that was not the 370. Yeah, definitely not that one. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't like to reach out. I'm not going to reach out to a company and ask for samples. It just doesn't feel right to me. Who am I to do that? What's up, Matt Porter? Good to see you, dude. And I'm not saying other people shouldn't do that. I'm just embarrassed. I personally, I'm shy. I'm a shy dude, and I don't like to do that. Although Matt's trying to get me out of my box. Matt has tried to convince me to do that. I feel like the holographic kind of cheapens the look of the bottle. I don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. It's just different. In today's market, I kind of appreciate different. 216. We had 225 in here now, Travis. It's crazy. Thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like button. Cam, I haven't had a Bardstown recently that I've loved. They're just kind of boring. I think the price needs to come down now. I think we're at a point now when I look at the makeup of this bottle, let's say that I'm correct about the sources of these whiskeys. Let's just say that, for instance, that we have 9-year Barton, that we have 9-year Heaven Hill, that we have 8-year Green River, which is in-house, and we have 15-year Buff Turkey, which is Turkey. But I'm saying Buff Turkey because that's my own speculation. Regardless. And you have 20% of the blend is that 15-year. That doesn't need to be a $140 bottle, I don't think, as far as if you're an NDP and you're buying those barrels. Now, Bardstown may have bought those barrels a long, long time ago when barrel prices were up in the market. Who knows about any of that? But I feel like this could be a $100 bottle in a separate line, not really related to the Discovery series. No Boston. Bardstown bottles are just a beautiful bottle. I agree. I love the bottles. I've always just thought it's such a clean bottle, and the white labels to me, just keep the white labels. I love simple. It's eye-catching. I think it's great. And the best part to me is the graphic or, the etching or whatever on the back that you can see through the bottle. I think that's cool. A lot of sub 10-year liquid in there. No youth is coming out because all I can taste is a secondary barrel. That's the thing. It's you guys put so much effort into the base blend. Let me taste the base blend. Don't blow it out of the water with the finish. If you want to blow it out of the water with the finish, just use all 9-year Barton or all 8-year Green River or something. But yeah, I think Terry's right. We should expect more for 140. For the love of bourbon, in for one. For the love of bourbon, in for one. Gotcha. Says cheers. Thank you so much. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm really behind on chat. So sorry, guys. Let me. Travis, Cam, I know that typically double oaks come across as younger whiskey to you. What if more places swap the time? Say if it's a 9-year whiskey in a barrel, 3 to 4 in the first, 4 to 5 in the second. I would be down for that because typically the earlier you rebarrel a product, the better the result for me. I will always reference that Naptown Bourbon Club pick of Backbone that Joe W. sent me. It was some absurdly short amount of time in the first barrel, 3 years, and then 5 years or 6 years in a second barrel. That always yields a better result because you have more time. You have less oak impact on the distillate after the initial maturation. So there's still more room for that whiskey, I feel like, to really marry with the oak and not be just pasting the oak onto the base product. So yeah, I think the earlier that you can rebarrel, the better. So when you get to a 9-year whiskey, and it's fun. I've always wanted to taste what's a 20-year double barrel whiskey taste like. Well, if you're going to double barrel at 20 years or 15 years or 12 years, I think you should double barrel for a very short amount of time or use a second fill double barrel. Maybe you take a wave stave barrel and you've finished something in it for 3 months and you've already dumped it, but that wave stave has been spent for 3 months, then use that to double oak an older product. so you have a little bit less harsh oak impact in that finishing time. Those are just my thoughts. Those are things I'm going to hopefully be running with when we start our own NDP, you know, is trying to find, because I'm interested in finding what I like as a double oaked product, and then how to scale that. And like it's gonna take a lot of R&D to figure out what that is, because I think the key to it is probably using second fill finishing barrels, but not fully spent second fill finishing barrels. What's up, Colin? Good to see you, bro. It's my homie, guys. My drum corps partner, seat partner, partner in crime, Colin, from back in the day, 2014 and 13, a little bit, barely. What's up, Bourbon Kingdom? We got kicked off the media list because of that. Which media list? Bardstown? Or which one? And David Jennings, and that's the thing. I love that I feel comfortable being honest, you know? So thanks, man. I can't wait to get into these. I think it's time, dude. I think it's time to get into these. We'll do the turkey after it, because I think we don't want to do Beacon before these ryes. That's not really fair to the ryes. So let's do this. On your left, guys, is Gemini 1. So these are called Gemini 1 and 2. So on your left is 1, on your right is 2. 1, hey DJ, did you send, did you email me that press release? I know you said you might send it. I was curious. Or is it maybe in Discord? Let me know. I might be looking in the wrong places. There's so many things to keep track of. That makes sense, but at the same time, I think friends especially should appreciate any feedback, but brands should too. Public praise and private critique when it comes to anyone you know personally makes, yeah, and that's the thing. That, you know, that is the thing. Loyal to the soil for sure, but when it comes to like whiskey and audience expectations, you got to be honest. That's part of the reason I like to do the blind sample pool, is like if I'm yanking a product from Dan and Sean, or from Rarebird, or you know, whoever, it isn't like I didn't know, and so it's a great way to do it and feel like you're kind of absolving yourself of walking that fine line. And it may be good feedback for the person on the other end. Okay, I'm so behind, holy shit. Discord DM. Oh, really? Why is that not coming through then? I don't see it on here. Okay, I don't know why I'm not seeing it, man. Let me search. It's like not at the top of my feed, that's why I'm saying that. Did you send it like a long time ago? And I don't remember it? No, I don't know why it's not here. Alright, I can maybe look it up. Raconteur, rye. It's Gemini. Not Genesis, it's Gemini. Gemini 1 and 2. Huh. Alright, I'll come back to that. Let me get these poured out. Heck of a cork pop. I've got to catch up on the live chat here. These do probably need a little bit of airtime as well. Anytime whiskeys have a secondary finish, little airtime does good. Matt says that's the thought with Barrel King Knighted and using second use bourbon barrels. Yeah, man. And I think it's just, it's not like uncharted territory. You guys are charting the territory, and other people are doing that stuff too. But yeah, I just want to find what my preference is for double barreled, because I think it's possible. You know what I mean? But most of what's on the market just ends up being first fill, heavy char flavor bombs that I just don't love. Excuse me. Lee, thank you for the super chat. In for 4 says, I'm very late tonight. That's okay. I was pretty late tonight too. So are you saying buy another Disco 11 instead of 13? I'm more of a Disco 12 person. But honestly, I would just, if you're into the whole secondary thing, I would be buying a Disco 4. Disco 4 for me is awesome. Okay, I'm scrolling, make sure I'm good. Carter's and Dixon were the first I heard being pretty vocal about preferring that method. I didn't realize that's what Dixon was doing. Second use. I wasn't sure about that. Talking about false scarcity. Discord. Okay. All right, people are talking about distribution in the chat. A lot of good things to say about that. Not much I can add to that conversation, probably. Kenny says, I've given a particular NDP 2 bad reviews in a row, so I'm assuming they're going to quit sending me bottles, even though we were just being honest. I think, yeah, and Kenny, I haven't listened to it, you know, what you said about him, but as long as you're tactful, that's the best you can do, you know what I mean? No, it wasn't Bardstown. They're super good to us. Let's just say we're no longer getting samples from the biggest distillery in Indiana. Well, I mean, that's cool. You're getting them to begin with, you know? That's pretty cool. Oh, Rarebird send it now. Okay. Rich, thank you for the super chat, man. In for 4. Says, insane giveaway tonight, Cam. Much appreciated. Yeah, man, I can't wait to get to these 18-year Bartons here in a little bit. Bourbon Bill, what's up, you freaking crazy bastard? Way late, everyone. Did we already discuss the 350 SRP of Beacon? No, we did not. We haven't gotten to Beacon yet. We're about to get into these rack and tours. Surprise bottles of the night. Courtesy of Rarebird. Shout out. I don't think it matters. Distributors. Okay, talk about supply still. Terry, in for another. Thank you, Terry. In for one more. Really need to try one of these carefully crafted Ms. Ryes. Disco 4. We're talking about discos. All right, let's get back in here. So let's talk about press release now on these rack and tours. Look at that. Branding for this, David, is so good, man. Clean looking press release here. All right. Suggested retail price $130. Special dual release Gemini. Going to be available September 2025. Gemini 1 is an 8-year MGP 95.5. So that's Gemini 1 on your left. 8-year Indiana 95.5. Finished in Mizunara oak. 48-month cured and toasted American oak. That's crazy, just for the record. And also finished in ex-Indiana 51% rye barrels. Nice. Its companion release, Gemini 2, was crafted from 8-year Kentucky 95.5, finished only in Mizunara, showcasing a similar yet darker profile than the previous Kentucky distilled rack and tour rye, which was batch 3 Ms. Kiss. So there we go. I won't read all the quotes in here. 1,100 bottles each. Available, at select online retailers in early September. There we go. All right, so let's start with this 8-year Indiana 95.5, which again finished in 51% rye MGP rye barrels, finished in Mizunara, and finished in 48-month toasted American oak. Whew. Powerful, powerful nose. The proof on this is 126.6. Powerful nose. Wow. Let's see. Let me grab Gino here real quick. Gino816, thank you for the super chat. And for one, have you blinded all the disco bottles that you have? I did like a 1 to 4 blind back in the day. I've gotten rid of a bunch of discos. I don't have 5 through 10 anymore. I never owned 10, actually. That's the only one I've never owned. I have 11 and 12. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I have 1, 2, 3, 11, 12 because I killed my 4. So, yeah, it's not really worth it. I think I blinded them on a live stream. Like with Discovery 12, I think I blinded against earlier ones. I think Discovery 4 won handily. That may have actually been a video on the channel. Oh, you finished in the Who Rhino barrel? Holy shit. That's a great barrel. 48 month is crazy. Okay. So, this is like, the whiskey's a little tight on the nose. Like, just as far as the proof is high. 126.6. Is that this must be the highest proof, right? Or was Brazen higher than this? 126.6. This is a whiskey that I just need to get on the palate to go back to the nose to. It's extremely peppery. It's like, this is a super rye. This is maybe the most like forward rye that you've done in the Raconteurs, I would say. I think I'm gonna love the palate on this. I think the nose a little tight up front. It's gonna get better after this sip, I think. Just as far as opening up. I think this palate's gonna blow me away though. Yeah, that is spicy. Holy crap. Immediately you start salivating. This is like attack your palate whiskey, which I like. This is something that, yeah, man, it's just going. If you had this as a single barrel, like if you're doing a barrel pick and this popped out, you'd be like, that's the barrel. Because it has that quality of just like full force. That is a rye, not rye in the herbal sense, because I think all of those like more herbal MGP qualities to the whiskey have been tempered by all the different finishing barrels in here. And to that point, I would say that I think the finishing barrels are very well balanced in this, because it's not like I'm getting heavy toasted or heavy Mizunara like out of context. I think I'm getting a nice balance. This is I mean, Brazen, I love that batch so much. I think Brazen may be a little darker than this. Mine's in the basement right now. I think it may be a little darker if my memory's correct, but this is definitely the most Brazen as far as palate experience, I think. It's funny because, damn, it's not a particularly fruity whiskey. It's more of just like balancing massively intense rye character with creamy barrel sweetness and trying to find the balance between those two things. I think it's done really well. And the finish just goes, like the finish is going on and on and on. Nice job, dude. This is cool. I'm so curious now about this Kentucky Gemini 2. See, this is just flavor bomb territory. And I like flavor bomb territory. Huh. It's not the most complex whiskey, even though the makeup is complex. You have all these different finishing barrels. But I think what you've gotten from that complexity in construction is a pretty singular profile, actually, that works really well. almost a little horseradish effect on the palate, as far as like, you guys know when you eat like a lot of like a big dose of wasabi or like legit horseradish, it will like crawl up your nose after the fact. And it's got this brightness, almost a little like acidity to it or something. This whiskey has that. Crazy. All right, I gotta move on. Maybe I'll come back to it. All right, let's go to the, let's go to the Kentucky batch. This smells like wildly different. So as a pear already on the nose, it makes a lot of sense. This is darker, sweeter for sure. Like this is, it's 95.5, but it's Kentucky. It has more of that Kentucky like caramelized profile to it. All right, proof 120.8. This is a total departure. It's so much more even keeled. Like, interestingly, this being the Kentucky rye and also having more sweetness to it, even though that's true, I get more herbal on this. And if this is Bardstown Bourbon Company, which I would imagine if it's 95.5 Kentucky, it tastes like this, it's probably Bardstown Bourbon Company. If it is, let's just say, it would make sense to me because their 95.5 has a certain like herbaceousness to it. Oh, it's a toss-up. I love the flavor bomb aspect of Gemini 1. Here's the deal. Excuse me, good Lord, the tacos. Revenge of the Tacos. Right now, I'm belching. This was such a great decision to pair these up because you could not have two more different profiles. And I from my perspective, having just done a 4-part beam barrel, what we call the Mystery Match Symphony, that's a lot to ask of someone to buy 4 barrels. 2 barrels is much more palatable, 2 different bottles, 2 different blends. I like releasing this way. I just think doing any kind of A/B comparison is fun, and then when you release a product like this, that's just something that I love to do for our barrel picks as well. So man, I feel like I should have drank these in the opposite order because we've gone down in proof and way down in spice. The Kentucky one is so much more round. This is a lot more torched orange peel on the nose, the Kentucky, the Gemini 2. There's a little like tinge of candied sweetness in here that's not immediately apparent. I have to really dig in for that. But yeah, a little bit of like a Zot. You guys know Zot's candies? It got that effervescent Alka-Seltzery, middle to it when you crack it open. But like the red Zots, I think they're cherry flavored. This has like a red Zot character, torched orange peel, a little more herbal, definitely more caramelized. Whereas I feel like this first Gemini 1, there's no real caramel quality to that whiskey. This is more sweet. So if you have a sweet tooth, you want a sweeter rye, more of a bourbon drinker's rye, you're probably going to go for this. Even though it has more herbal qualities, there's so much more sweetness that I think bourbon drinkers maybe are going to gravitate towards this more. Like, not a ton of like crescendo build to the whiskey. This is more of a even whiskey all the way through. I would say this, David, I like Gemini 2 better than the Batch 3 Ms. Kiss. It'd be interesting to compare this to Batch 1 and 2. I think Gemini 1 is the most unique probably of all of the batches. It's the most like stand out, just rocket ship profile. I like these both, dude. I really do. If I had to pick a favorite, I'm probably picking Gemini 1 because it's a flavor bomb, and you know me, so like palate-wise, that would probably make sense for me to say that. I think a lot of people are going to pick Gemini 2, though, because I think that sweetness is what a lot of people are looking for. Let me taste one again. Man, yeah, one is... I don't know. They're both good. Let me, you know what? A semi 50-50 blend. I do love the 375 idea. For any release that has like a series, I love a 375 idea. But I know there's for 375s, you're dealing with buying more glass and probably lower quantities of glass, because you're probably not going to do that for like everything. So you're going to have less. So price is going to go up on that. You need to have different shipping boxes, because you're going to have probably 12 packs of 375s instead of, you know, a 6-pack or whatever you normally ship in for your 750s. There's a little more logistics, like in label filings for 375s, all sorts of different stuff that a lot of people just, it's inconvenient, I think, across the board. But I do love that idea of 375s for anything that has a series. I thought the Indiana tasted more bourbony, says Kenny. I see, it's like, I separate it into bourbon tasting and bourbon drinking experience, which I think are two different things. I think the most bourbon drinking experience is the Kentucky. Is this right? No. The most bourbon tasting is the Kentucky. The most bourbon drinking experience is the Indiana. I don't know. I'm not sold, Kenny. I just don't like the comparison, and I should stop doing it too. I should stop saying this is a bourbon drinker's rye, because I think it's a silly thing to do. Because I don't even know what that means anymore, because I'm so ingrained in both bourbon and rye that it's hard for me to say that anymore. So I should stop saying that. Because at this point, like, I don't know, the Kentucky batch has more caramelized bourbon sweetness, but also more rye character as well on the profile. And drinking experience-wise, it's much richer. So I think maybe it drinks more like a bourbon because of the richness. I don't know, I'm going to shut up. All right, so this is the blend. Whoa. The blend is a little stifled. I did like 50-50, just about. It's a little stifled. I think the profile is great. It just drinks like shit when I did that 50-50. So I think if you mess with that blend proportion, I think you could find something that would work. I think the solution is probably the base needs to be Gemini 1, the spicier one, and then just flex in a little bit of that caramelized Kentucky sweetness of Gemini 2 instead of going 50-50, because it fell off really weirdly after the initial punch. All right. David, thank you for sending these my way, man. Both of these are going to go into the blind sample pool for 2025. If someone twisted my arm and said, what's your favorite? I say Gemini 1. I'm still going to stand by the fact that I think more people would like Gemini 2, though. That's more of a crowd pleaser. Gemini 1 is more like when I pick a barrel and we say it's an FMM barrel in our Discord, people that like that kind of a barrel, which I'm not going to say what that means, but if you know, it is what it is. Those people would like Gemini 1. All right, let's go to Wild Turkey Beacon. Let's do this. You know, what I'm realizing is that there's no real need to compare this to Russell's 13 Batch 6, Spring 2025. We only really need to compare it to this, Russell's 15. I also drank a little too much Raconteur there, so saturation level sharply went up over the last 20 minutes. Toshi. Toshi bought a bottle of Last Drop. What is it, 27-year Buffalo Trace? 10 G's. What'd you pay for it, Toshi? 10 G's? You freaking animal. Good God, dude. Bourbon Bill. Yeah. You said it, man. Thank you, Frankie. Toshi says, in my opinion, Bourbon Drinker's Rye is like Jack Daniel Single Barrel Proof Rye 2020 Heritage. Very sweet, not minty or herbal, but still some rye. Still some rye spice, though not insane. Yeah. That, I feel like the 2020 Heritage Jack, I think those were all single barrels. But the ones that I tried had a lot of like really dark, what would you say? Like plummy blueberry, blackberry, like that realm. If you only had enough money in your pocket to buy one, which one would you choose? Probably Gemini 1. Just understand it's not the richest profile. It's just going to attack your mouth. And you're going to need like one sip every couple minutes. You know, you're not going to shoot that thing down. You're going to sit with it for a while. Hey, Cam, thank you for the Buckners and the sample. I just opened Spicy Gal and we're comparing it to the sample of Sugar Daddy. Let me know what you think, man. Spicy Gal, every time I go back to that bottle, I'm like, I can't believe we got this barrel. I'm so happy with that barrel. So hope you enjoy it. If you don't, let me know and I'll buy it back from you. I'll buy the open. Okay, so full disclosure, I am biased on this comparison. The reason being, I did this comparison already, which is Beacon. I'll move these back a little bit so you can see them. There we go. Beacon versus Russell's 15. I've already done this comparison once. It was blind, and I threw in this Rathskeller Revival 18-year Barton. Rathskeller won. Russell's 15 came second. And that was very, very close. And then Beacon was an easy last place. So that's already happened for me. So I'm going into this biased, knowing that was my first result. I am completely open to having my mind changed, especially because when I did that, Beacon was a fresh crack. We've gotten some, limited air in the bottle, but it's been sitting open for a few days. So I'm going to be interested to see how this does. As far as color goes, it's just slightly lighter than Russell's 15, whatever that's worth. So we're going to get into this now. Proof point on Beacon. It's on the neck, right? 118 proof. Russell should be like 117.2, right? Yeah, 117.2. And then just a quick note. The box, like the Beacon box, is one of the most beautiful presentations in recent memory. Calumet 18 was cool, like the box was great. The bottle is like a weird shape. I mean, it's cool, but I don't love it. This presentation, I'm a sucker for gold, like holographic gold like this. And the texture on the front impeccable. I want to... Most bottles in boxes, I just take the boxes to my basement or I throw them away. I want to display this in the box because it's so cool. So it's a blend of 16 and 10-year bourbon. The 16 was Eddie's. The 10-year was Bruce's. There's a lot more to the story. You know, you can read about it in here. Proportions are not disclosed. So there you go. Let's get into it. Before we do, let me grab a couple more super chats. Okay. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Gotta go. Oh, wow. We had a lot more come in here. All right. So I am further behind than I was by quite a bit now. That is a good problem to have because I appreciate your generosity. So thank you guys. Daniel Hooper, let me get you in here. If I misspell anybody's name at the end, I'm sorry. I'm going to do this very quickly. Daniel Hooper in for 4. Says 18 in life. Thank you for the $20 super chat, man. Kyle Farr in for 5. Says cheers, brother. Cheers right back at you. Thank you, Kyle. Dan H, who is sending me Remus 9 and Booker's Reserve 2025, the tequila finish. I'm excited for that. Thanks, Dan. Says super chat, cheers. Thank you, Dan. What did you send my way here? 12 entries. $60 super chat. Peter Chase, I promise we're going to get through this, guys. In for 2 says cheers for the live stream. Thank you, Peter. Got Andrew Kim in for 6 entries for a $30 super chat with a little whiskey emoji. Thank you, Andrew. Let's get 4 more, and then we'll get to this comparison. Pink Dan, Mr. Freaking Pink Dan himself, in for 2. New laptop hype. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Ryan B is in for 2 with some taco emojis. You're short a couple tacos, dude. I had 5 earlier. Andy Campbell, 10 entries. Thank you, dude. $50 super chat. And finally, we got Paul N. We're leaving off right before Guys. Let's do Guys. Paul is in for 2, and Guy is jumping in for freaking 20. Guy says, you know I love me a Drums and Drams live stream. Missed the last one because I was traveling. Where were you at, man? Guy, thank you. 20 entries for an OG. Guy has been incredibly supportive. So that's awesome. Thank you, man. We're going to leave off with Trevor S. is going to be next on that. And I haven't checked my PayPal yet. So Rarebird says, I just compared Russell's 15 and Beacon. Going in, I swore Russell's would take it. I was wrong. Beacon performed amazingly next to it. All right. What's on the raffle block? Rob, check the description of the video. It's in there. Let's see. Junior, thank you for the super chat, dude. And for 4, let's get a River Roots holographic collab. Dude, so if we did a holographic, it would probably cost, you have to do new, what do they call them? Like, what do you call it? Like if you have like a mold, like a label mold. Mold is not the right word, but you have to have it like, they have to create something if you're gonna stamp on anything that's shiny or holographic, and it costs like $1,000. So if we did a barrel pick and wanted to file something that needed to have like holographic or metallic on it, you're looking at like $1,000 upfront cost to do that. Plates, that's right. A die cast, plates. Yeah, plate I think is correct. Traveling back from Vegas, says Guy. Oh, dude, what were you doing in Vegas, man? Were you gambling? Guy, are you a gambler? And if you are, what is your game? Are you a Baccarat guy? I've never played Baccarat. I've gambled once in my life in Vegas, only once. And after now, many years later, I'm like, I could win. And that's a bad place for me to be because that means I'm going to go and lose all my money. All right. I hate that this is just an @ sign and I can't see the actual person's name, but thank you. Says, cheers, Cam. Excited for the return of the content. Time to take the TV back from my wife. There we go. Cheers, man. Thank you. I wish it wasn't showing the detailed screen names. Guy is amazing, Jeremy. So are you, dude. Jeez. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get all weird about freaking community stuff, but I'm thankful for you guys. I really am. Okay. Matt, Cam, you will not win. Oh, God. Beacon smells amazing. Like, what's funny is, like, when I smell Beacon right now, before Russell's, my first impression is, wow, that smells a lot like Russell's 15. That's the first impression. Then you smell Russell's 15, and you're like, that smells more like Russell's 15 than Beacon does. And that's a stupid thing to say, kind of, but Russell's 15 is more singular with its profile. It's like, I've always said this about it. It reminds me of it's like getting into an old muscle car. It's a very antique smelling, antique store. You know, it's mega berry reduction, all that stuff. Very, very oaky, funky. It's awesome. It smells dusty and all that kind of stuff. Beacon has a lot more variety on the nose. It's more complex. Complexity is not automatically a better thing for me. Sometimes I like a one-trick pony. But Beacon is definitely more complex. There's a little more citrus. Like, overall, let's start from here. Let's say that, like, Beacon, the base profile of Beacon to me is Russell's 15. And then let's talk about the other 20% of Beacon that's different than Russell's 15, which is probably a function of the blend, right? It's 16-year stuff and 10-year stuff. So imagine 16-year turkey, which is kind of like Russell's 15, and then let's add on what the 10-year is bringing to the table. That's the way that I'm looking at it. So it still has all of those, like, really antique oak kind of components. There's a little bit more citrus, which relates to younger turkey stuff. That makes sense. It's probably from the 10-year. There's a little more citrus to it, a little more of like a smoky spice, and I relate that smoky spice to Rare Breed Non-Chill Filtered Travel Edition and Camp Nelson B, single Rick. And there's a little bit more menthol to it as well, which is a younger whiskey note to me. Still, though, with the base of berry reduction, old leather, you know, old oak, antique. All right, let's go to the palate. Tobacco front of the palate. Tobacco actually kind of all the way through. That's a heavy note in here. It's smoky too. Like, smoky and tobacco are two different notes also. That I want to be clear about that. Like, the nose is giving me a lot more fruit, like a lot more of that berry reduction thing. The palate, though, veers off into more oaky, more tobacco, more smoky. It's very good. It's excellent. You know, here's the deal. Before I even taste Russell's 15, if this never existed, we would be losing our fucking minds over this bottle. If this never existed. Because it exists, you know, we can be like, oh, let's compare the two, which we're going to do. But if this was never in my brain, I would smell and taste this whiskey and go, holy crap, I can't believe turkey in 2025 can put a whiskey out that tastes like this.
That would be the reaction. But we got a little spoiled with this. You know? Beacon's fucking great. That's plain and simple. The finish is not crazy long. It's 118 proof. You know, you gotta temper your expectations. I'll get to the chat in a second, guys, I promise. I mean, wow. Like, the best way to describe the front of the palate to me with that kind of like tobacco-y, antique-y thing, it's aromatic. I know that's a word I use a lot. It's like if you had like potpourri, but it was antique store and tobacco, you know. It's a little departure though from the nose. Okay, I'm gonna go to Russell's 15 before I go and scroll, you know, through the chat and everything. Russell's 15, more, again, singular on the nose. Smells a little more intense to me. Not more intense as far as spice goes. I actually think Beacon is spicier on the nose. More intense as far as just concentration. It's like a tsunami of aroma because you're smelling it. It's so dusty smelling. All right, palate. Same thing on the palate. Like, what you see is what you get. Already you can tell the finish is going to be longer. For me, it is at least. See, I like how predictable Russell's 15 is. Like, you smell it and you're like, man, I really want that whiskey to taste the way it smells, and it does. Beacon is kind of the opposite. I feel like it smells very different than it tastes. At least more different than Russell's 15. So yeah, for my personality, I think, just like I said with the Rack and Tour batches, I love those. I love a complex whiskey, I do, but I just think that if you have a whiskey that does one thing and does it so well, I just want that. I just think that's great. Russell's 15 is that for me, and Beacon is more of like the thinker whiskey. But again, if Russell's 15 never existed, no one would have a second thought. They'd say Beacon is probably whiskey of the year. I mean, that's top 5, easy. We'll see what happens with everybody at the end of the year, but let me take one more sip of Beacon. I just think it's thinner than Russell's 15. I think Russell's 15 has more body, and I appreciate that too. So I'm still picking Russell's 15 over it. I'll blind them again at some point. But I'm going to leave these poured out because we're going to go into these 18 years now, which I think is the last thing that we need to do tonight, would be all this Barton 18-year stuff. I am feeling a little, feeling a little good right now. So I'm going to go easy on this next portion. A little water. Beacon is more silky. Russell's 15. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that comparison. If that's silky, I almost think, yeah, I don't have a better word for it. That gets me like 80% of the way there. But I don't have a better word, so I have to go with that. I gotta get the vocabulary chops up a little bit to accurately describe what I'm thinking right now. What did I miss? Travis Smith, thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Travis Smith 6597 is in for 4. Thank you, Travis. What does that say? Something wood? Oh, elk wood. That's like, what? Deer, stag, bucks, elkwood. Thank you, Travis. All right, let me see what have I missed here. I got those last super chats. I saw Jeremy say Ghost Note Glenn is the GOAT. I wonder if there's a way for you to change that on your end. Not all channels have it, but yours has consistently for a few weeks now. What are we talking about here? That was from DMT Phone. When was that? Was that a few minutes ago? I'm not sure what you were talking about. That was 9 minutes ago. I don't know. Oh, that's a good comment. Sam says, if you prefer vanilla and oak and effervescence, Beacon wins. Yeah, I think that's right. Beacon is so damn good. I agree. I get a lot of tobacco on Beacon. More citrus and cherry. And the cherry is brighter and less dark than Russell's 15. So much cherry that it makes it sultry and seductive. I agree. More citrus, I agree with. I think cherry, I think you're right. By the way, Carter was on the Still Austin pick, and Carter's like left some of the most insightful comments on my videos, you know, for the channel, like over the last, I don't know how many, 2 years, Carter, 3 years, I don't know what it's been, man. I love Carter's palate. There are like certain people who I'll like agree with their palates, or I can really trust with barrel picks, like Adam in the chat from the collection. Back on collection sponsored time. I trust Adam implicitly for barrel picks. Carter, I trust Carter's palate 100,000,000%. Anyways, just a side note. DJ, it's the most tobacco turkey I've ever had. One of the most tobacco bourbons I've ever had outside of Dusty's. Huh. I never thought about that. Maybe, yeah. I need to like compare that to some other stuff. Beacon. Russell's 15 is better, but who cares? Exactly, right. I think it is better, but I'm going to drink the shit out of Beacon. And then there was Travis. You're going to give a rating? I mean, for me, Beacon is probably like, that's like 93, 94 territory for me. I would need to sit down with it individually, not tipsy, to give it a true rating. But 93, 94 is where I'm feeling like it's at. I do agree with Cam that Russell 15's profile is consistent. Beacon is a wild ride. Yeah. Hard to say which is best. I think it's a mood thing because they have similar bones. They do have similar... That's the thing, man. So, is there any indication of whether the 16-year in that Beacon is like from the same lot of stuff they were going through with Russell's 15? Or will we never know that? Jesse, given what each of the blends in Beacon brings, do you think age is the primary driver behind the recent flavor drift towards more citrus and spice, or is it something else driving the change? Everybody I'm hearing from is saying that Bruce prefers a brighter, spicier, more citrus forward profile. I don't know that. I don't know Bruce, and I don't have any idea if that's true or not. Indications would say if he's the one that's having more of a hand in recent releases, that tracks. It also would track if you just told me that it was the age of the whiskey. So I really don't have any insight into that. I'm sure DJ knows more about that. Brian says, agreed on the one-trick pony concept in bourbon sometimes, maybe most of the time. Yeah, like to me it's like, it's most of the time. And then if I want to go off and have like a freaking total nerdy experience, then I'll seek that experience out and look at my shelf and go, all right, I want to like sit down and like think. So I'm going to pick that. But the other 80% of the time, I'm just thinking, I want something that's just like, whatever you call this, I want that, you know? And then I'm thinking it, I'll grab it, and I want that experience. Cam, you're going to be at the... Oh, I forgot to respond to that SLB meetup. I'll probably go. I need to check the date one more time. But I was free at the time that I looked at it first. I've had a few things pop up, so I'm not sure, but I'll have to recheck the date. Bugs413, thank you for the super chat. And for 4, good to have you back in the groove. Have fun with the new tech gear, almost as fun as a new set of cymbals. I wish I could see who this was. Who is Bugs413? What is the screen name? Yeah, I love my cymbals. Is that Chris? I don't know who that is. Oh, it's probably about display names. Oh, let me go back to what DMT phone said. Where was that at? It was earlier. I wonder if there's a way for you to change. Oh, not all channels have it, but yours has consistently for a few weeks now. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. Carter says since the beginning. Was it really that long, dude? I have no concept of time with the channel anymore. It's crazy to look back on it. Tom Lonzo, damn it, Cam, I already bought a rat poison. Don't make me FOMO a beacon too. Thanks, Tom. And for 4 more, dude. Keep drinking, Tom. Keep drinking. Terry, thank you for another super chat. It says, I paid to share the word of the day. I gotta pre-screen these freaking things, man. Chris, Beacon definitely has that light fireworks that slightly roll into the nose from the mid palate. Chris, what does that mean? How much have you had to drink, Chris? Let me track this with Chris. Light fireworks. I don't know if that's a sulfur note or a smokiness or a concept. An idea that slightly roll into the nose from the mid palate. I feel like that's reversed, Chris. Into the nose from the mid palate. I'm just giving Chris shit. Rarebird says, Bourbon Bill is boiling right now. It's possible the 15 years Camp Nelson, the 16-year portion of Beacon is also Camp Nelson. That tracks for me. It tastes the same. All right, I think the general profile shift for Turkey is the result of a new still, but the 10-year in Beacon is new still, and it's fantastic. Okay. Bugs is done. Oh, it's done. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, who's calling out the symbols? When we were at Turkey for the 8-year release, we were told they pulled 15s from all over to make something coming up. They also mentioned how they didn't have that much older juice. Huh. Jason C is having the same issue. It changed. Are you talking about the screen name thing? Just Bend One was waiting on this comparison from you. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, if Russell's 15 did not exist, we would have the same reaction to this Beacon that we had to Russell's 15. I truly believe that. Send a Venmo. I want to make sure you got my entries. Yeah, I'm behind on entries. I have from Trevor S. And I see your entries right here. Down to Rob Saunderson to get to still. I was doing good earlier. I'm a little behind now, so sorry. Cam, Russ, who's always in the chat and always buys the picks, shared the shit out of his bottles. He deserves a killer shout out. Dude, that's awesome. Russ, thank you, man. Cheers to that. With a little Russell's 15. Yeah. Rarebird says, I think a good summary is this. If you weren't able to acquire a Russell's 15, seek out a Beacon now before it becomes secondary only. Yeah, and Beacon right now on secondary is dropping, which is a good sign. And I don't know what the availability or bottle count is like for Beacon, but it seems like it's not impossible to find. My advice, like, here, what's the... the SRP of this? I know Bourbon Bill said $350, but I think that's high. I think it's not $350. What are people paying for this? I don't know if Ohio has it in the system yet. The last Master's Keep in Ohio was $275. So I think $300 is probably SRP. Frankie says $300. Rarebird says $300. It's not $500, Chase. Secondary right now is like $485. I'm buying that at $300. Yeah. Up to, like, for me, again, it's like if Russell's 15 doesn't exist, people are going to pay $450 for this and not have a problem. But if you find it at SRP, if you're used to spending that much money on a bottle of bourbon, it's a buy, you know, for me. It's just tough, though. I mean, Russell's 15 now in secondary is like $575, $585. So it's going up. Beacon's going down. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to talk about that. Oh, wow. All right. Okay, so we're done with that, and now it's time to go to a bunch of freaking 18-year bourbon. So let me get some water. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Sam, I kind of agree in some ways, yeah. Not overall, but just in terms of secondary bottles, I agree with that. All right, Adam, your time is up. We're going back to Bardstown. Okay, let me get 1, 2, 3, 4. How many glasses do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I need 6 glasses. That sounds scary. We're pretty deep in at this point. It is what it is. Matt, come on, Matt. Now I'm not going to do this blind. There's no need to do this blind right now. But I am going to leave out the Russells and the Beacon just in case I need a comparison. I don't think I'm going to, but who knows? Okay, let's do this. That's going to be the order tonight. Kenny, with all the advice in the chat. Not kidding, I had tacos right before this. I didn't do the whole Plan A Waterboy thing. I didn't do that before the stream. But I'll be okay, man. Like recently on these streams, I've been really good about, keeping it together. Tonight, I'm like 15 to 20% more overboard than I would like to be. Just because there were like 2 moments, the raconteur back and forth, and like something else that I had a little too much. It's funny. It's like you got to be disciplined, doing these streams. Because, after like 20 glasses, it just sneaks up on you. All right. what kind of tacos. I had like 2 al pastor tacos and 3 shrimp tacos. Saturation level increasing. Glad to make it back and see you're in uniform. No, dude, I'm in this uniform. Your time is up, Adam. Your sponsorship is done. Okay, let me grab a couple more super chats. So we have 6 18-year Bartons, which is crazy. 5 of them are from the same like grouping of barrels that just came out. And then this Rathskeller, which is from Sealbox, this has spent 4 years in Florida aging. So this is not from the same, lot that was recently sold from Bardstown Bourbon Company. That's where they came from through the broker, Elkwood, or Bluegrass, actually. So, yeah, this is kind of the odd one out. Oh, Toshi, you got one of these? I had 26 minutes left, says Adam. Adam, I just had yours on a second ago, dude. You came back in. Yeah, clearly you weren't here. You're not supporting. Clearly. Carter says, I spit almost exclusively now. Yeah. I mean, at some point you have to, On these streams, I was experimenting back and forth. I should have done more of that tonight, but I didn't. Now I'm in too deep and kind of is what it is. Okay, let's grab a few more of these from Venmo. And this is from the Drums and Drams Venmo. I know some people have sent to my personal. Trevor Sarr paid, let's see, 25, so 5 entries. Thank you, Trevor. Says August 28th stream. All right, Cody Boatwright. Thank you guys for the support. Cody Boatwright in for 2. Says Elkwood with some emojis, just like earlier. I'm not gonna Marian or Marianne. I'm not gonna try to say your last name. It looks Polish, and I'm not good at that. In for 5 says love your content. Thank you so much. Andrew Parrott. RRT. In for 3. Says, cheers. Cellar aged hit Phoenix twice in the past week. Guess I'll be trading my bottle. Damn. Yeah, I mean, Andrew, it depends. Like, if you don't mind a whiskey that falls off fairly quickly, and if you haven't had the 2023 version of the cellar aged, then you might like it. But if you have a frame of reference for that line, or if you really need a whiskey to like sustain itself on the palate, probably not that one. Mike Conklin in for 5. Thank you, Mike. Says alive with 5. There we go. All right, Yong Lee. Let me go down. There we go. Yong Lee is in for 10. Thank you so much. There we go. We got that one in. And Jason Zell, dude, with the super chat of the night, in for 25. Says cheers, brother. Cheers to you, dude. I would have a bonus sip for you right now, but I got to be careful because we're riding that fine line right now. All right, let me grab 4 more of these. Jeremy Hughes, I have 3 samples of his right now to go through. In for 5 says, you sexy beast. Cheers, buddy. Thanks, dude. I don't know about all that. I got a few LBs to lose. Chris A, in for 20, dude, says 2 weeks in a row. Chris, that's a crazy super chat, man. 2 weeks in a row. I don't think I streamed last week. I think it's been, time flies. I think I took last week off. Maybe. I don't even know anymore. Amy Bohm. Let's get Amy in here. May as well throw a few bucks out into the world before I win the Powerball and vanish forever. Cheers, all. Cheers, Amy. An OG in the chat. All right. I'm behind like 8 people. Probably have a few personal Venmos because some people still send to personal Venmo. And I probably have a few PayPals as well, which I'll get to, I promise, by the time we do the drawing. But we have to get into this now. What I'm realizing is I need to pull one more glass because all right. I'm trying to step over bottles behind me. I should probably put this, like the industry standard 18-year Barton into this. I'm going to spit a little bit in this flight so I don't, start slurring my words too bad. So we've got the Calumet 18 at the end here. Oh, Toshi, what did I read, dude? Oh, what did I read? Toshi, what did I read, dude? Maybe Toshi's behind. All right. All the Elkwood that I have had were just really hot finishes. Are you talking about the 18 years? Totally missed the Rathskeller Split Frenzy. That was a Discord thing, guys. You can still get drunk spitting, and it's worse. It's a worse drunk, just a very temporary drunk. Dude, yes. So the spitting drunk is something that Matt Porter has talked about too. When he's done like 40 samples, I think, in a live stream, and he spit all of them. But when you do that, it's not just a head thing. It's like a stomach thing. Like, I get sick to my stomach if I spit, if I go through 30, 40, 50 barrels or samples or whatever. I get like sick to my stomach, and you're not drunk in the same way, because if you do like a breathalyzer, you're not blowing anything. Maybe like a very, very small number. It's just a different feeling. You just don't feel good, and I don't know what that is. But I get like this. I just don't. It's not. It's nausea, but it's in a totally different way. I don't know. You can burn your palate out for sure, says Carter, but not get drunk. I do it on the regular, and also get drunk a fair amount. Yeah, I don't know. I get that same effect though that the DJ's talking about. All right, Whiskey Rambler, Austin, and for 2 more, says cross the line, have another drink. Oh, geez, this is gonna get ugly now. All right, Barry, in for 1. Doing my first barrel pick tomorrow at Driftless Glen, but couldn't miss the situation. Couldn't miss the situation show. What is a situation show? Thanks, Barry. Have fun tomorrow. Driftless is awesome. I imagine that Justin is going to be running your pick with Casey. Tell Justin I said hey. Justin is great people. Casey's awesome. Casey's a freaking savant in the Rick House. Have a lot of fun, dude. Driftless, and it's beautiful in Driftless, and Baraboo. The restaurant's great. I love going up there. Oh, spitting comment. I got you. I can't put any of these chats up. I can't put any of these up. All right. No. All right. Let's get into this craziness. So here's what we have. The first thing I'm going to taste tonight is what we're giving away this evening, which is the Drums and Drams 18-year Elkwood Barton 125 proof. So it's basically 1792 full proof at 18 years old. Then we have Kenny, Anthony, Steven, the Mashup podcast. They also have an 18 year, it's 134 proof. I'm going to do that next. We have Rathskeller Revival. Again, this is aged in Florida for 4 years, 117 proof, so it's a good bit lower. The whiskey's crazy dark. $800. These other two are $400, so none of this is cheap. And Rathskeller only has 161 bottles. Then, from the Whiskey Blendery, courtesy of Jeremy, 18-year Very Old Cola, 126.8. Then we have 18-year Blendery Raspberry Royalty at 122 proof, 40 bottle shorty. Then we have Whiskey Blendery 18-year BBBB, 121.8. And finally, tried and true, Calumet 18. I think we're there. I think we're there. The first thing I'm going to taste tonight. First thing I'm going to taste in this flight. Derek, for someone who doesn't tend to like makers, would a 23 or 24 refrigerator age be better? 23. Easily 23. Okay. So let me taste our pick first. This is a little selfish, but someone is going to win this in the giveaway. It's our pick. I like it a lot. So let's go to this first. Full satch time. Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. Beacon. And Russell's 15. All right. Nah, Kenny, there's no, I'm not blinding tonight. We're just going to like talk about the differences in these barrels. I don't think there's any reason to blind them, you know? All right, so our barrel to start off with is it smells to me like somewhere between Beacon and Russell's 15. It's insanely like antique oak. That's why this stood out to us on the pick. Kenny was there. We called this barrel OG5 because it was barrel 5 out of the first 5 that we tried. Then we had another 6. So this is the OG lot of 5. So we called it OG5. OG5 was just this insanely dark, fruity, it was probably the oakiest of the bunch, I would say, like the most antique oak and dusty oak of the bunch. And it's very, very fruity. So Barton, you're going to think about lots of cherry notes, somewhat medicinal cherry in a lot of cases. Younger Barton has banana. This, to me, I don't really get that banana note anymore. It's kind of aged out. And at the pick, God, I was really worried that it was flat. Like this barrel was not flat, but like a little too flat for what I would typically go for, especially at $400. And then I got the sample home and I'm like, this is not flat at all. And right now I'm tasting it again. No, this drinks perfectly at 125. So let's taste Beacon real quick. Beacon has a lot more of that tobacco-y, citrusy profile. But this is not just a Cellar pick. It's going to sell. I'm not worried about it. I would take this over Beacon. Like 100%. I would take this over Beacon. Would I take it over Russell's 15? I don't know that. I'm not going to go that far. But our pick is just old oak, super like intense cherry, very fruity whiskey. Kind of like a little bit of an almond note, which is typical of Barton 18. So I can't wait for people to get this barrel. Let's go on now to Kenny's barrel. So 134 proof. Joe says if you get too saturated, I just turn the speed up to 2x and it's like you're sober again. Joe, you got to get the apostrophe there in your. I don't know who's saturated. I think it might be Joe actually. And then Pink Dan said, or half speed to really go full on effed. That's funny. All right, so Kenny's barrel. This is like completely night and day different than what we picked. I think that's what's cool about this. So Kenny's drops tomorrow. Ours drops a week after that. Kenny's 134 proof. They were holding this barrel back for the gift shop. So this was like a total treat that this was even included in the pick. And Kenny and those guys picked first, and they picked this one. So this is more like, it's way spicier, 134 proof, so 9 proof points higher. It's more of a cola profile as well, cola spice. Less fruit, I would say. A little bit more bittersweet, so there's no medicinal to this. Mine has a little bit of medicinal cherry to it. Kenny's is more cola, a little more bittersweet, much more spice, little clove. Let's taste it. Man, it drinks like a GTS. I'm going to keep saying that. I said it in Discord too. Yeah. Man. I love both of these for very different reasons. But in a blind flight, if you're just like really focusing on flavor bomb and spice and drinking experience, Kenny's barrel is going to stand out because it's just in your freaking face. As I go back to the nose, I now get a little bit more of like a plumminess, like a little bit of a fruity, like dark fruit character, a little bit more tannin on the nose now that I go back to it, and a little bit more leather on the nose. But I have to acclimate to that proof. 134 is intense for an 18-year whiskey. It's excellent. It's excellent, especially if you want like. So GTS is like, and I'm gonna keep saying this. GTS is the same way. GTS is not the oakiest, deepest, like most rich whiskey. But GTS drinks with such intensity, and it delivers the flavors in such a way that, like, that's why we like GTS. This is the same way, where you don't get, like, incredible depth to the whiskey, an incredible oak. You sacrifice a little bit of that in order to get all of that, like, rich spice and really great proof. And leather also in here, which GTS also gives you. But this gives you like a little bit more of a darker cola profile and not as like cherry and honey forward as GTS would be. So these two barrels, I'm telling you, if you bought 2 barrels of 18-year stuff that's not yet released, these two, if you're looking for like a spread of what's out there, these cover a lot of bases. And we're going to talk about these others as well and why they're special. And also one of them I don't like too much. But I think, you know, these have already been released, and so I don't know what else is out there that's coming out. So, all right. Let's go to Rathskeller now. This is still available, I think, on Sealbox, but it's twice the price of all of these. This is $800. Excuse me. All right, so Derek says the 23 cellar age still has that musty dairy note, but admittedly the floral notes are turned down a bit. Excuse me. Still wouldn't seek one out, but it has a great caramel and is maybe the best makers I've tried. Derek, have you tried the Star Hill? Yeah, it is. It does still have a little bit of that. I'm probably with you, Derek. I'm just not a maker's person in general. But it probably is the best makers besides Star Hill. Joe, you got me on the missed apostrophe. There we go. Holiday tip. Buy that spiral sliced... Try to say that when you're half satch. Buy that spiral sliced grocery store ham instead of water. Substitute Makers 101 instead of... Substitute Makers 101 instead of water for the glaze packet. Crowd pleaser. Okay. Is yours shorter than Kenny's? Yeah. Ours ended up being like way shorter than we thought. We were told 110, and it's 64 bottles. Kenny's, I don't know what Kenny's is. I feel like it was in the 90s or 100 maybe. I don't know if Kenny's still in here. What else? Okay, we're caught up. Let me grab like 5 more super chats, guys. Toshi, holy shit. Guys, Toshi cracked the last drop 27. Oh my goodness. Toshi, how is it, man? Wow. Wow. That's awesome. It's a lot of money, Toshi. Holy crap. Big ballin'. Okay. Aaron Trondle, thank you for the super chat. In for 1 says, I'm in. Have you ever had driftless American single malt? I don't think so. I've had the weeded and I've had like everything else. I don't think I've had the single malt though. All right. John is in for 15. Thank you, dude. Says, cheers, man. Glad you're getting out of the funk. Thank you, John. I appreciate it, man. And thank you for all your help with everything we've been talking about, dude. I'm gonna have more questions very soon, I'm sure. Larry Batterson in for 1 says Elkwood. Thank you, Larry. Lawrence in for 5 says 5 tacos. Glad recent events are on an improving trend. Thank you, Lawrence. Marshall or Brandy. Marshall, I never know if you're sending from your account or you're sending from Brandy's account. And then when I met you, I realized, like when we were all together at Crittenden's, I realized you're probably watching together, but some folks will send from their wives' accounts or whatever. But Brandy, Marshall already sent me some. So Brandy sent me 2 super chats with a pizza emoji. So thank you. Thank you, Brandy. Because I think before I was saying Marshall when I saw Brandy's name because I saw the last name. Dustin Martin, thank you for the super chat. In for 3, thank you so much. And Mr. Alan Maloney is in for 4. It says Sarah's House Fund. Let me just get through these because we have a couple more left in here, and then I'm caught up actually in the Venmos. Rob Saunderson in for 2. Party emoji. Thank you, Rob. Aaron Trondle is back in with 2 more. Says, in again to keep up with these high rollers. Aaron, it's crazy at this point. Calvin Beck is in again for 4 more. Thank you, Calvin. And thanks for doing it on Venmo. I know you did it earlier in the live chat. And Matt Cochran. We're caught up on the business Venmo in for 2. PayPal is always a lot less, and the personal Venmo is always a lot less. I appreciate all the support, guys. Seriously. It's crazy. All right. Toshi says it's fucking wild, man. Yeah, that is the correct response, Toshi, for that bottle. Wow. Okay. On to number 3 of 7. Although the Calumet is really just like for comparison. We don't need to evaluate that. All right, Rathskeller Revival, 117 proof, 4 years in Florida for these barrels. On the nose, this is dark. This smells like, I said this to Sarah, you guys tell me if I'm an absolute idiot for saying this. You ever see like a red velvet rope between, like the black metal posts, and then there's like a red velvet rope, real for fancy events and stuff. Like if you have like a velvet jacket on, or you're touching the velvet rope or whatever, velvet, like if you move it up or you move it down, it kind of like the texture of that, how it moves one way and moves the other way. That texture Now imagine that texture with chocolate. And then smell and drink that. That's what this Rathskeller smells like. It's like that velvet fabric texture. And it has the, like, this is a great comparison. It has the almost to a T, the exact dark berry note of Russell's 15. It doesn't have the antique note. It has the dark berry note though. And it has chocolate. It has some tobacco in here too. It is such a dark, bittersweet, concentrated profile. It is crazy. The whiskey, the color of the whiskey, it's the same color as Russell's 15, which is insanely dark. It smells amazing. Little toasted cornbread in there too. Kind of interesting. All right. Man. And that's why I think this is Whiskey of the Year candidate. I mean, this is, as far as what I've tasted this year, it's definitely top 5, probably top 3, Rathskeller. $800 is a lot of money. I understand that. That is incredible whiskey. It's so much like dark chocolatey caramel sauce dessert mixed with the really rich berry note of Russell's 15 with that velvety texture to it. It's intense, like it's concentrated and intense without being extremely proofy. It's only 118 or 117 proof. Yeah. Amazing. That is amazing whiskey. And then next to Calumet 18 on the nose, it's not close. It's in a different league. Calumet 18, when I put it next to this on the nose, smells sour, sharp, grapefruity, tannic. And I know I know Calumet 18 is awesome whiskey. But Rathskeller to me is like 96, 97 out of 100 whiskey. It's just really expensive. Oh, it's so good. I'm just reading the chat right now. I mean, it's excellent whiskey. It's just not like at the proof point. You can't put this next to 135 proof stuff. It's not that it doesn't stand up. It's just that it's a different ball game. So it's not worth putting this next to 135 proof anything and saying, oh, well, it doesn't have the same intensity. Well, of course it doesn't. I know that's going to happen to a lot of people. Drink this, like ramp up to this proof point and see what you think of this. Don't drink 125 or 130 before you drink this 117 Rathskeller. It's excellent. It really is. And having my own bottle now, spending time with it, comparing it to these others, it's awesome. All right, let's move on. Have I missed any super chat? Oh, I did. I missed 2 of these. I got Barry. Now I've got, I'm sorry I don't see whose name this is, but Jammer-MZ6GG says, I believe you can beat Shook and Paisley on any golf course they choose. I don't believe that. I've never golfed. I've been to a driving range like a couple times and Top Golf a couple times as well. No. Give me a year to practice, and I think I could do it. because I'm very competitive. But not right now. Absolutely not. But thank you for the super chat. Unruly Sailor in for 2. Says, coming in late, but love seeing happy half-satch cam. That is exactly what's going on here. Appreciate the super chat. Toshi talking about the last drop 27 says, brings me back to that B20, B23 is what it was at Willet. No, it was B63. It was B63. Willet on the nose, same crazy old funk, but sweeter. We had B63, but I think actually you had been to Willet before me, Toshi, and maybe you had B22. Same crazy old funk, but sweeter in true Buffalo Trace form. I think you had been there before me. Such great sweet oak on the palate. Can't believe at 27 years it's not over oaked. Dude, stop it, dude. So per ounce, if you had to price that out, if it was 400, what was the price of, it was $10,000, right? So yeah, it's $400 an ounce. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Whoa. He says dark fruits, figs and prunes and berries, and the finish goes for days. One sip lasting upwards of 5 minutes on the finish. It's quite nice. 2 thumbs up. That's awesome. Mike likes Rathskeller. All right, Mike, I'm glad to hear that. Bunch of velvet talk here. Kenny, I'll see what I can do. I just split out a couple bottles. Let me see what I have left on the Rathskeller. You have to remind me too. I'm half satch right now. Michael Phelps, thank you for the super chat. In for 2, says, damn, want to try that Rathskeller. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, that Top Golf clip was bad. It was bad. Don't do the math, Cam. All right. All right. Let's keep going here. So this is the Whiskey Blendery. These are all 18-year blenderies, the next 3. This is very old cola at 126.8. So the second highest proof we've had so far. So this is going to be a great entry point for us to talk about maybe some of these Barton 18-year barrels that are not quite as good, and at least for me. At this point, I've tasted 14 of these 18-year Barton barrels, plus Calumet. So it's not a big sample pool, but it's enough. Oh wait, is that right? No, I have this wrong. I've tasted 25 barrels. If you count Rathskeller as a barrel, otherwise I've had 24 single barrels of this, Rathskeller and Calumet. So actually a decent sized sample pool. What I'm finding is that the 18-year Barton stuff has a slightly higher hit rate than the Buff Turkey that I tried. I think Buff Turkey, now I've tasted probably more than 60 barrels of Buff Turkey. I'd really have to go back and think about all that, because I've had samples over the last 6 months, a lot of like random Buff Turkey samples. But most of those are samples that people want to send of barrels that they think are really good. So it's skewed, right? Because I've gone through so many bad barrels at the broker and everything like that. But I am finding that I feel like the hit rate of these Barton 18 years is slightly higher. I think like 25 to 30% of these Barton barrels are excellent. The reason I'm saying this right now is because very old cola from the blendery, this is a barrel that I'm not that crazy about. It just, like, on the nose, it doesn't really smell like anything, There's a faint hint of a like a cola note, but it's masked by menthol, ethanol, white pepper, just generic kind of barrel spice notes. And it's spicy on the palate, but there's no depth to the whiskey. And so for me, like, if I want to have that experience from a whiskey, I could probably have that experience for like $100. So that barrel in particular for me is not, like, that's not doing it for me. It doesn't taste like 18-year whiskey. Derek, all right, guys, help Derek out here. But this, yeah, I love cola profiles, but this one called Very Old Cola, I don't know who picked it, if it's distillery exclusive or, you know, a group down there in DFW, but that's not for me so much. But now let's move on to this one. So this is Raspberry Royalty, 40 bottle shorty, 122 proof. Angie here, longtime lurker, and felt like sharing some good juju on this Thirsty Thursday. Thank you. Thanks for the super chat. Throwing in a super chat as I am just, you know, falling into 3/4 saturation here. I got you in for 2. I appreciate it, Angie. Cheers. All right. Raspberry Royalty. Let's see. Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. 40 bottle shorty, 122 proof, so it's not a crazy high proof. Color, it's not, you know, it's not super dark. Let's see. Yeah. All right. It has this like very floral, like, you know, what do you want to say? Wildflower, honeysuckle, I don't know. Very floral characteristic to it, but it's like floral raspberry. They're totally correct calling this Raspberry Royalty. Great concentration. And the palate punches so much harder than Very Old Cola, which was 5 proof points higher. So that goes to show you the difference in a short barrel versus, you know, a non-short barrel. It's not going to be that way all the time, but this short barrel in particular was like, not only did it accent the fruit notes, but it also brought this incredibly concentrated drinking experience. It's a great barrel. Jeremy, thank you, man. It's a great barrel. It's so different. All of these 18-year Barton barrels are so different, but I also think most of these are very top tier. And so of the top tier barrels, I'm experiencing very different profiles. I've had a lot of like the lower tier versions of these 18-year barrels, and a lot of the ones that I, you know, don't prefer kind of fall into the same category as Very Old Cola. They lack flavor. They don't have like a lot of presence and profile to them. They're just kind of generic. That's not to say that, you know, the blendery did a bad job picking this barrel. You know, you kind of get what you get with these lots when you order them. But yeah, it is interesting that a lot of the bad barrels tend to be very similar, and a lot of the best barrels tend to be very different and have kind of their own singular profiles. But Raspberry Royalty, great barrel. Now, let's go to BBBB, 4Bs, 121.8 proof, blendery 18-year, very dark color on this. And this thing, oh man, it smells like, it smells like a Dusty. It smells like funky cream cheese. Oh man, cream cheese, carrot cake. You know, you have like the, what is it? Is carrot cake, does carrot cake have like a cream cheese frosting? I'm gonna Google that. Yeah, cream cheese frosting on carrot cake. That's what this smells like. funky though. Wow. It's so old school, dusty, like butterscotchy. Oh man. Amazing. Reserved on the palate. A good punch up front, but reserved after that. And then it tastes like a dusty. Butterscotch caramel dusty. One of the best single barrels I've had all year. Blendery BBBB. So it's crazy, like the whole idea here is just to taste this range of 18-year Barton barrels. You have barrels that drink under their proof that are dusty and crazy as hell. You have Raspberry Royalty, which is a shorty fruit bomb, super concentrated. You have very old cola. It's a high proof. It doesn't drink like a high proof. Unfortunately, it's, you know, it lacks for me. The Rathskeller, amazing. Top whiskey of the year. And then you have Kenny's Barrel, which is just high proof GTS-like spice. And then the barrel that we picked, which is like Russell's 15 level, you know, kind of antique old oak and old dark berry and cherry notes. And when you put that next to like Calumet 18, for instance, Calumet 18 is the safe choice. It's a blend of all of these different profiles, same barrel lots, from what I understand. And it does everything at a really, you know, really solid level. But then you go to our pick and you get so much more fruit, so much more oak, richness, higher proof. Then you go to BBBB and it's dusty and crazy old. And so, yeah, I think if you find an excellent barrel of the 18-year Barton stuff, you're seriously in for a treat. But, you know, 5 of these barrels I love, including Rathskeller. We'll call that a barrel. I love 5 of these. I've tasted 25. And, you know, that's a 20% hit rate of... There's a few others that could have been in the mix. Let's call it a 25% hit rate. Most of these barrels, in my opinion, are just okay and not worth $400, $500 plus dollars. If you find a great one, it's going to be amazing whiskey. So just trust the palate. Whoever picked the barrel, or whether it's an NDP or a pick group or someone doing a blend, just make sure you know that person's preferences and go with that. Don't blindly buy 18 years and don't blindly buy Buff Turkey. It's the same situation. But I do feel like this has a slightly higher hit rate. Yeah. Matt says Double D better than B. Oh, I haven't had that, so. Jesse says, also shows proof ain't everything. Hashtag hazmat, hashtag if you know you know, and other such overused BS. Derek, I'm off work tomorrow. Porque no los dos. That is the correct response. That is the correct response. Jeremy, what do you think, man? Is this pretty close to your assessment? Sam says, quit shilling for Big Barton. Put on the collection hat, baby. All right. There we go. Rebrand. Thank you, Sam. In for 4. And let's see. Ben Arrington says, give me 2 more. Great chat. Thanks, man. Got you in for 2 more. Joe, do you get any sugary bubblegum on your pick? Underneath the fruit, I get something. Joe, yes. Sarah actually called that out. And that's like... It's a pretty common Barton note, I would say, just across the board. It does have some bubble gum to it. I don't think it's in a youthful way. It reminds me of Calumet 16, that bubblegum note in particular. Yeah. Kenny said, I feel the same about Willet. Sitting in Whiskey of the Year for me is an 11-year Willet, but I cannot buy one without tasting it first. Too many misses at $4.50 to $5.50. Yeah, 100%, man. Calvin says the boom mic is better for these. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. I'll listen to it back tomorrow. Adam, what's up, bro? Jumping back in. Hang on. What did he say? Adam E in for 4 all-in-ones. All-in-ones and throwing it at you on the pole. Adam, I'm not your stripper. Sam again, here's something to tell me which was Sarah's fave. I feel like that's selfish, Sam, because Sarah actually chose our pick over. Sarah chose our pick over Kenny's and over Rathskeller. But Sarah also has a palate that aligns with mine because she learned with me. She also liked the way Kenny's drank better than ours, as far as just like spice and intensity, but she liked our profile better than Kenny's. And she liked Rathskeller, but she actually thought the nose on Rathskeller wasn't that good. She only liked the palate, which I understand. Oh, God. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. All right, let me finish up these super chats. Guys, you have like 90 seconds. If anybody has any more giveaway entries, get them in. I'm turning the banner off. I'll get these super chats in here. I appreciate the support. It's been fun. All right, let's see here. All right, where did I leave off? I got Larry Batterson. Oh no, I finished this out. I got Matt Cochran. I finished out all the... Yeah, but then Kyle jumped in and Jeb. Wow, Jeb. Jeb is spending his house money. His house funds. Excuse me. Kyle says, fuck it. Fuck it. Ha ha ha. Cheers, brother, again. So Kyle's jumping back in for 5 more entries. $25 super chat. Thank you, man. And Jeb is in for 4 entries with a peach and hand emoji. So you guys can take from that what you will. And Andy Campbell jumped back in for 4 more with a ticket. An admit one emoji. Thank you, man. All right, let's see. Let's check the PayPal and check the Venmo. What's going on here? What's going on here? Personal PayPal has 0. That is a good sign. Let's go to the business PayPal. Oh, geez. There's a few in here. Okay. Greg Smith is in for 4 entries. Thank you, Greg. With a gift. I think it was a gift emoji, maybe. Chris Salmons jumped in for 5. Thanks, Chris. Jason P is in with 5 entries. Says cheers, Cam. Cheers to you, Jason. And let's see, Nick Blevins. Nick, thanks, man. You're too freaking kind to the channel. In for 10. Says, hope things are getting better, bro. We'll catch up on the live tomorrow. Have fun. Thanks, Nick. All right, Mike P is in for 10. Thanks, dude. Start saving for Sarah's barrel for your 5th anniversary. 5-year anniversary is wood. That's a good call. All right, Mike. Well, hopefully by that time we have an NDP and I can actually have a Sarah's barrel in the facility. Chris Coleman in for 4 says cheers. Thank you, Chris. Matt Thomas in for 2 says in for 2, looking forward to grabbing the Elkwood. And finally, Out of the PayPal, Morgan O'Neill is in for 2. Says last minute in for 2. Thank you, Morgan. All right. I think we had one person sneak in here at the last minute on the business Venmo, which was Lawrence. In for one more with a snarky comment that said, Hatch Chili and Bidet / Toilet Fund. Thank you, Lawrence. No one knows what that means. All right, let me get back to the live chat here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. I gotta keep up. Hey, Pink Dan, have you sent me any other samples? I should do a blind sample right now. At this level of saturation, while I finish up the super chats, one blind sample would be fun. Do you have any ideas? All right, B. Walsh, what bottle has been your biggest... All right, we talked about this a little earlier. Someone asked a very similar question. Let me get you in real quick on the super chats. And for 4, thanks, man. I think this Rathskeller in the $800 price range. I think Dusty-wise, Maker's Gold Wax 101 proof from 94. I think in the low price range, OGD 7-year bottled and bond. That was a very good surprise. Eagle Rare 12 at 50, 60 bucks, SRP at least. I thought that was a good surprise. This Star Hill Farm, big surprise at 100 bucks. Big surprise. What else? Yeah, I think that's all we talked about earlier. I'll tell you what's gonna be the biggest surprise is the 19 or whatever, however old it is, William Heaven Hill 19-year, 130 something proof. That's gonna be the biggest surprise. I can only imagine it's gonna blow people away. Yeah. And Beacon. Beacon's great. All right, awesome, jumping back in. Whiskey Rambler in for 1 says, somebody have Spacon put up a poll on these 18 years. Thanks, man. Tom, in for 6 more. Give me 6 more for an even 20. Dude, you're a savage. Thanks, Tom. Matt Claren, in for 4. All right, Mr. Claren. I gotta spell that right. There we go. In for 4. Thank you. I'm just scrolling down in the chat. You guys are funny. Gino 816 in for 1 more says, have you had many of these 14-year 95.5 ryes? What's your opinion? My opinion is that most of them are not that great. That is not a lot of barrels. Those came from Templeton, as far as I know. The 14-year 95.5s, around 110 to 120 proof, came from Templeton. I just think that there's no punch to those whiskeys. There are certainly exceptions. Like, single barrels are single barrels. Your hit rate could be 5%, it could be 60%. It just depends. Like the Barton 13 years in the market right now that are mostly hazmat, those Bartons, that hit rate is like 60%. It's a crazy high, hit rate for quality barrels. Those 14-year 95.5s, at the price point, it's like 160 for a lot of those. Just not the biggest fan. It's going to appeal to somebody, but I like the 12-year, 125, 130 proof Flavor Bomb 95.5s. So, not really for me. There's always an exception to that, though. Oh, Jeremy's got that pick in the glass. There we go. Oh, wait. Jeremy says, Jeremy, should I do it now or should I do it on a video, though? Oh, and Andy says barrel foolproof was mentioned earlier as well as a surprise. That's a good point. Yeah. I keep forgetting that because it's not behind me. Yeah, Jeremy, the samples of Old Severn Batch 3 weeded that I had this year were not great. So I was a little bummed about that. You are not wrong. Most disappointing, what was I going to make a video for? What whiskey was the most disappointing? I had a fucking, excuse me, pardon my French. I had a video in mind about most disappointing of 2025. What was it? Oh, man, what was it? I can't remember. Oh, Russell's 13 Batch 6. That's in my most disappointing list. All right, Pink Dan threw in a few options. Rob, yeah, they are a good bet. Sam, that's funny, man. Sorry, I've been catching up, tuning in, but appreciate you answering. Love the Star Hill Farms myself. Did you like the Jefferson bottle? People lost their mind. I liked it. I didn't lose my mind over it, but I liked it for sure, yeah. I thought it was good. It's not going to change your life, but it's good. We got Gino. We got the PayPals. We got probably a couple personal Venmos now. We got to get to. Okay. Oh gosh, let's see. Just a couple. All right, Brett T is in for 4. Just want to get these done, guys. Thank you, Brett. Scott is in for 1. Says, let's keep the luck going on these Scott, you have good luck on these, dude. Eric, thank you for the super chat, man. In for 2. Jerry Arnold is in for 1. Says, thanks, man. Toshi for 30. Holy shit, Toshi. I just saw this. Cheers, Cam. Thank you, dude. And Kenny sent me $1. Kenny, you're not entered. It's $5. Super chat. Thanks, Kenny. Says, boom. He sent me 132. Why'd he say? Oh, was that trying to be 134 for his proof? Kenny, it's 134, man. Cheers, Joe. So what am I doing? Pink Dan. Do I do Pink Dan or do I do Jeremy? Jeremy, should I do yours or should I save that for a video, dude? You just let me know, because I'll do yours over Pink Dan for sure, because I got a lot of samples from Dan. And I should do yours if you think I should do it. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to decide, and I'm going to go to the bathroom, take a little leaky poo. I'll be right back, guys. All right, I'm going to do Jeremy's when I get back. All right, guys. Let us do this. I think we have all the super chats accounted for. Let me just like double check everything. If we do, I'll do the giveaway right now so people can go to bed. And then we'll do like we'll do a blind here at the end as a little bonus. All right, so we got all of those. I'm just checking both Venmos. We got all of that. Check PayPal one more time. Got all of those, and one more check on this end. All right, we're good. So I'm gonna run this giveaway now. Here we go. All right. So we have tonight 478 entries. Okay. Okay. Holy crap. From Jason at the beginning all the way down to Toshi's final insane super chat. So I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. And we're going to do this. All right. Thank you guys for being here. All right. Adam, that hat, dude, if you're still here, it's got a little weird fit for me, you know? It's almost like I have to be paid to wear it. I don't know. Okay, we're going to share the screen. We will spin this. Oh, hang on. I have to open system settings. Oh, geez. What's going on? New computer things. I have to let it screen record or something. Okay. Google Chrome is requesting to bypass the private window picker and directly access your screen. Allow. Google Chrome may not be able to record the contents of your screen until you quit and reopen. I can't do that right now. Let's see if this works. Guys, I can't do this until I quit and reopen because of the new computer situation. I'm not going to do that, so you have to trust me that I'm being honest about who won this giveaway. I can take a picture at the end and prove it. Just please trust me. So let's just do this now. I have everybody entered in here. I'm going to randomize it 7 times. I'll take a picture. I'll take a video right now so that if anybody asks, I could send them this video later. All right? So we're going to go 1. Oh, I have to scroll very far down. 2, 3, 4. Gosh. 5, 6. All right, last one. Here we go. 7. The first place winner is Adam E. Second is Greg Smith. And third is Guy. Adam E. wins. Greg Smith is in second. Guy is in third. Then Andy Campbell, Larry B, Jesse, Marshall, Tom Lonzo, Jason, and Sam. But Adam E, Greg, and Guy. There we go. So please email me your address. drumsanddrams@gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat. There we go. Yeah, Adam, our sponsored individual sponsoring the stream is the top winner. And then sample packs going to Guy. Who did I say? It was Guy and Greg getting sample packs. Cheers, guys. Thank you for the support. I sincerely appreciate it tonight. It's crazy. Adam, you win Cal 18. No, he wins a better Cal 18. Our pick beats the shit out of Calumet 18. Adam, the dude who paid you to wear his hat? Yeah. Yeah. Start the conspiracy right now. Please. All right, let's do a blind. So Jeremy's up first. Jeremy sent me this What's That Whiskey B. Jeremy, did you send reveal cards or do you just have this on your end? I can't remember if I have reveal cards for these. You did send me reveal cards. I have to find those. Hang on one second. They might be in this room. Maybe they're back here. All right, Jeremy, if you can say what it is, I think the reveal cards are in the living room on a table in there. If you can say what it is at the end of this, that would be helpful, just to avoid it. Color very dark on this. Oh, it's spicy. Very, very spicy. Very high proof. Like, could be like 130, maybe like 135 proof on the nose. Could be a rye. Has a slightly crafty yogurt note to it, but I don't think it is craft whiskey. I just think it has this interesting note. It's very spicy. Holy shit. It could be craft. Has like a little MGP rye vibe to it. This is very good whiskey. I don't know what this is. It's a lot of like purple fruit. I think it's old. It's either old column stilled whiskey or it's young pot stilled whiskey that tastes like old column stilled whiskey. I'm going to go out on a crazy limb here. This smells like it was finished in a used barrel. The reason I say that is because I feel like I'm getting like this extra flavor to it, but it's well integrated. It smells like MGP. Could be a bourbon. Jeremy, this is 133 proof. I'm gonna call it bourbon still, I think. .133 proof, 9-year, high rye bourbon, MGP, possibly finished in a used barrel. I don't know where it's from. I'm gonna say it's from the blendery, but that's just a random guess. All right, what is it? This is crazy. I really like this. I think that yogurt note is a yeast note, and it's because it's MGP. What the hell is this? 133 9-year high rye bourbon, MGP, possibly finished in a used barrel from the blendery. Sample B. Oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. It's really good. There's a little craftiness though. What is the craftiness? I feel like I'm very wrong. Oh, Jeremy texted me. Oh, I had this feeling, dude. I had a feeling it was a rye. Oh, Jeremy. Oh, I had a feeling, dude. Guys, it's a 95.5 rye. I knew it was MGP. It's 128.5. I said 133. It's 12 years old. I said 9. It's a 95.5 rye selected by Circle City. It's a rural inn pick out of Indiana. Oh, it's a great barrel. Oh, it's a great barrel. I was so close to saying 95.5 in the beginning. You know what it smells and tastes like, Jeremy? It smells and tastes like Treasure Hunt. Those dark fruit notes reminds me so much of Treasure Hunt. Yeah. Yeah. Very similar backbone. That's very good. All right, man. So, halfway there in some ways. Halfway there. Okay. All right, Dan, you said 29 or 31, right? Let me go back and see what you said. Let's see. Trying to find it now. All right, Dan, just pick one because I can't find it now. I'm just scrolling up and down. 29 or 31? Oh, okay, let's see. No, Dan, I don't think I've done 31. I'm looking here. I'm trying to find it though. Oh, I may have already done 31. I have the reveal card, but I don't have the sample. So I think I've done it somewhere and you've told me the answer. So I'll do 29. All right, let's do 29. All right, guys, last pour of the night, courtesy of Pink Dan. Sample 29 that he sent my way. Grab the reveal card here. Okay, let's do this. All right, Dan. Dan, let's do this. You tell everybody right now in the chat what this is. I just closed the chat. I can't see it. Let's make this more fun for everybody. So you tell the chat right now what it is. I cannot see anything in the chat right now. All right, so This has a lot of strawberry notes to it. And it's candy. It's strawberry candy is the primary note. Maybe a slight hint of watermelon. In some ways it smells like buff turkey because of those notes. And it does have sourness to it. It doesn't smell like particularly old whiskey though. Proof feels high, like 125 maybe. What is this? It drinks like a weeder. It drinks like Old Fitz 17. Not in the flavor notes, but in the way that the texture on the palate is like Old Fitz 17. Oh, what the heck is this, Dan? I'm trying to think. Does it smell like Heaven Hill? It kind of does. It kind of does, but what would that be? Why did it smell so much higher proof? It's got to be a weeder. It's 100% a weeder. Which weeder? If it's 100 proof, it could be Old Fitz. If it's 100 proof, it could be Old Fitz. If it's not 100 proof, what is it? But nothing else tastes like this than Old Fitz. It's kind of fresh. It has a little freshness as far as like it's not super oaky. It could be a Rebel. Oh, it could be a Rebel. This is either a Rebel 100 barrel, but those aren't this good, or it's an Old Fitz. What's the age? That's the key. What's the age? $11. Old Fitz 11. Let me pull the chat back up now. What? I would have never guessed this. The strawberry note kind of could clue me into like Barton maybe. 119.6. And I'm coming off of what? 128.5. Man. It drinks like a freaking weeder, Dan. But first nosing, I would have said, what'd I say, 125? And then I tasted it and I'm like, oh, it drinks under that. Man, that's tricky. Oh, it's so tricky. So let me put it next to one of these Bartons. You know, like, what's a low proof? They're all kind of not great comparisons. Actually, it holds up very well. It holds up. 4 years younger and well, is this 14 or 15 year proprietor, Dan? Damn, that, I mean, I can't believe that came off like a frick. It drank like a weeder. I cannot believe that. Wow. That's crazy. 14 year. F this front. Sam, I hate you, bro. Oh, man. I am saturated, but I'm not saturated enough to make this mistake. Outside of the fact that it actually smells and tastes like that. Also, those, all the Lucky Sevens, they did not really smell and taste like traditional Barton. Even these 18s and the 13s coming out now, they don't really relate to those. Those Lucky Sevens were completely different, and I don't know why. Buff turkey on the nose was interesting, yeah. Jeremy. All right, guys, I'm out. Congrats to the winners. Thank you guys for a good hang. Almost 4 hours on this stream. That's crazy, but appreciate you hanging out this evening for all the support. And yeah, that's it. Fun night. I gotta go sleep. I'm gonna sleep a lot. Sarah's gonna wake me up at like 11 tomorrow. And that's it. Cheers.